Welcome to the final reaction stream of the calendar year, and we're one step closer to the end of the season, thank the Lord. Now, it is a common theme around, at least amongst recent weeks, about me kind of doing poorly on the Saturday, but then on the Sunday it's kind of like a turnaround. So when I do these reaction streams, I'm on a red arrow, and that's currently the case. I've only had 3 players feature, but as usual, disappointment with my transfers. I bought Ismail Assar for Bruno Fernandes, and if I just kept Semenyo, that would have been 3 extra points. Now, that assist itself was contentious, but I want to see your thoughts in the live chat about that. I'm going to answer all your questions and comments. As always, drop a like if you enjoy the content and subscribe to the channel. We're looking to hit 31,000 subscribers in the new calendar year, and there's going to be UCL fantasy content next month, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And the next stream would be next Saturday for the Gameweek 20 deadline. But let's get straight into your comments and questions, as always. And then afterwards, I'll go for some different screens, as I usually do. Virgil over Trent before Saka's injury. Yeah, sometimes with FPL, these little factors can play a big part in terms of how much money you have available, and timing is so crucial. And I think in your case, a bit unfortunate. I still like Virgil van Dijk, but Trent always has that additional bonus points for it and the assists. It's not as prominent as last season or in previous years, but that goal today was maybe due, because Trent's underlying stats have been incredible all season. And yeah, if I had a wildcard right now, I'd be playing it. And, well, I say that. In Gameweek 20, I do have the wildcard available, but I don't want to waste the second one. But if it was the first wildcard still, I'd happily play it and put Trent in there. Jellyfish Potter says 40 points with Raya, Colwill, Gordon, Palmer, Rodgers and Isak to play. Captain Salah saving me. Pretty much the same in my case. You've got some good players left, though, and I can see myself regretting not going for Gordon by the end of tomorrow. 47 after 4 played. Good score. Actually decent. Thank you, Salah, and on to tomorrow. I wish I could just jinx the guy. I'd rather him blank every single week, and I do even worse in FPL, but it's just not going to happen. That Trent goal is absolutely ridiculous. You can't imagine they go in like that all the time. West Ham are levels of atrocious. Why wasn't Wan-Bissaka defending Salah? Now, I think at that point their heads were gone. They knew they were going to lose, and I'll be honest, I mean, I was watching the beginning of the game, but I saw how it was progressing, and I knew Liverpool would demolish them, so I just switched it off. I went to watch Monster, great anime. There was no point wasting my time with that match. 49 points from 3 players, really good stuff. Raya, Gabriel, Rodgers, Gordon, Palmer, Pedro, Isak, and Jackson to play. Yeah, good list, except Pedro, arguably, he's been awful, but I could see him returning in the next 2 game weeks. And by the way, I have made an early transfer, and let me know in the live chat what you think I've done, but I'm not going to say what I've actually done. I'll save that for the team selection video in a couple of days' time, but just putting it out there. 58 points of 4 players. I pretty much do wildcard videos every single week, and because it's going to be the first game week with the second wildcard in play, yeah, that is the plan. Now, is it going to be tomorrow? Probably not. I'll probably take a day off for once, but over the coming days, the plan is to do transfer tips, best wildcard team, and my team selection. Yeah, Gakpo has been starting every single game, it seems. I still think he'll be benched eventually, but if he continues with these minutes and playing in the best team in the league and the way Liverpool are really purring up front, then yeah, it's definitely not just even being considered. I mean, he might be one of the best forwards in the game. Now, you still have Solanke, who will be quite consistent. Mateus Cunha, but he picked up that injury against Tottenham today, and the imminent suspension, of course, will be a factor. My favourite 3 forwards right now are going to be Jackson, Isak, and Chris Wood still, but yeah, I think Gakpo could certainly enter that equation. 58 with 4 players, a lot of good scores flying around. Trent 15, Munoz 2, and Salah captain 32. Yeah, very good start. I'm a bit gutted about not having that second Liverpool player, and in an ideal world, I'd have Trent, but of course that isn't the case. Have 50 points of sales, Trent and Salah, says Crispy. Have 8 left. Manish says got 49 points of Salah captain. Yeah, pretty much. I think those that didn't captain Salah will be kind of regretting it in the end, but he's in that kind of form where everything he touches turns to gold this season. I'm quitting FPL. Trust me, mate, I don't blame you. It can be like that sometimes, but just persevere, have some fun, and yeah, just go for some differential picks maybe and just enjoy the ride. Captain Salah, apart from that, just do whatever you want because the midfield is atrocious in my opinion. There isn't any standouts. Maybe you just stomach the benches and go for Diaz or Jota, as we saw today. 55 points of bonus, and Isak, Jackson, Rodgers, Palmer, Gabriel, and Raya left, says Fund 11. Eli says Wood, Sells, Robinson, Trent, and Salah captain. Oh, very good list of players, and Forest are just really strong at the moment. They're second in the Premier League table by the end of the calendar year, which is simply remarkable. I think Nuno Espirito Santo should be Manager of the Year, but of course you could easily give it to Arne Slot too. I think those two are far and away the best managers in terms of performance, and I know Iraola's done a great job too, Marco Silva, but yeah, I think those two deserve obviously a big shout out. Shea Munoz didn't return. He was so close to. I think I can't remember which player it was that blocked off the line, but I mean Munoz was literally right in front of that player, so the shot was immediately blocked. He's always in really dangerous positions. I'm happy I didn't go for Munoz in the end, at least this week, but I mean going for Sarr was just as disappointing. I had that dream overnight of Eze scoring. I don't know why I didn't listen to my bloody dream. Any Trent plus Wood owners? Yeah, there's definitely some flying around. Probably getting red arrows because of Trent's Hall. I was already on a red before Trent's Hall. It's just because I haven't had many players feature so far. I've got a lot of players left on the Sunday. I'm actually quite confident I'll get a green arrow, but famous last words, we'll see how that pans out. But it has been a common theme in recent weeks where on the Saturday, I'm down to around 500k and then I end up getting a small green arrow. Hopefully it's even bigger than that. That's not possible, Jellyfish. The second wild... Wait, what? Oh, unless you're talking about Gameweek 20, then like you already activated it, and fair enough. Why didn't I go Eze? Yeah, I get what you're saying there. He's got a great record against Southampton, but I just don't think there's a standout in the midfield. I have to stress that. Apart from Salah and Palmer, I think the rest is up for debate. Maybe just go for Diaz and stomach the benchings, if not Jota, but I don't like the midfielders at the moment. 75 with 5 to play. Thanks for your suggestions today, Dylan. You're welcome, Canal. Festus says 51 points and still have 6 to play. Only disappointment was Cunha. Yeah, but he's been brilliant recently. And that injury, a big shame. I think he could have done something in the second half against Tottenham. But yeah, the imminent suspension, of course, will definitely sway public opinion about him. He's going to become a very popular sell either this week or next. Yeah, we'll wait and see with Gakpo. But I think Diaz will start against Man United. I might even take a -4 hit and buy Luis Diaz and try to jinx him at least, because that position is cursed with Ismail Assar. No way Salah's not winning Ballon d'Or. Well, you say that, but there is another half of the season to go. If he falls off like he did last year or the year before, which I don't think will happen, but if it did, then yeah, he wouldn't deserve the Ballon d'Or. And also who wins the Champions League and who... I mean, Liverpool have won the Premier League already probably, but yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with the rest of the competitions. Mohit says, yeah, Gakpo's scheduled for a price rise tonight. Yeah, look, Gakpo has been a great option recently, so those that went there, fair play. Yeah, but we did say this at the beginning of the season, and it didn't happen. But in the last couple of weeks, I think Gakpo's been really important with those goals. I mean, the one he scored against Leicester in particular was crucial. I don't see why you would go against Salah captain. He's already close to bettering his goals assists of last season, and it's only halfway. Yeah, he's on a different level this season. There's no doubt about it, but it's kind of funny. I remember back in April, May, I remember seeing Liverpool fans, and I know you can't really look at Twitter too much, but I was seeing people say just sell him to Saudi or get rid of him, you know, because of that downturn in form he experienced and Liverpool started capitulating. I mean, it just goes to show you how quickly things change in football. Cunha is also set for a price rise, which is weird. Yeah, it's because of the recent returns, right? 9, 9, and then 12. Yeah, I just think Cunha is still one of the best forwards in the game, but I wouldn't be buying him in right now. That's why I sold him just, 2 weeks ago? Can't drop Gakpo in the current form, but I still think Diaz, Jota, Salah is the first choice front three. Yeah, I mean, that was the front three at the beginning of this season before injuries. But on current form, yeah, I don't think Gakpo will be benched often. But over the next two, if I had to kind of chance myself, I think he gets dropped in one of them. Salah 100 points to break his 303 points all-time points. Yeah, I mean, with his current rate, I think he is going to break it. But I think there will be a downturn. I keep saying it. I don't know when it's going to happen. Don't ask me, but that's just my opinion. Gakpo's a nailed-on starter, says Mohit. They didn't buy him to sit on the bench. Yeah, but they've got that squad depth up front, which is something Arsenal lack, and I talked about this earlier in the deadline stream. But yeah, Gakpo will start most games in the coming month, but not all of them, in my opinion. Only Salah is nailed. I agree. At least in the attack, I think Van Dijk in the back goes without saying. Gravenberch and McAllister also fairly nailed on right now, and then Trent. Timber for Gomez and 4-point family and defender for Mizraoui or Dean and Milenkovic. I don't like Luka Dean, so that ruins it. I love the Milinkovic pitch. I think any Nottingham Forest defender, especially him and Aina, would be brilliant. but I'm going to say Timber and a 4-point family defender, which could be Castagna or Anderson. It could also be, I think, Howson, but I'm less keen on him right now, to be honest, because Bournemouth's fixtures are terrible, and I did say this in the deadline stream earlier too. Bester says Jota versus Diaz for the striker spot. I think Gakpo has secured it. Didn't expect him to play 90 minutes, but all I need is a return for a game for his price. No, I absolutely get that, and you might be onto something there. And Jota wasn't that convincing in the previous games before today, but he's just coming back from an injury, so it's difficult to judge. And Diaz has been playing some of his best football and producing his best output as the number 9. Salah's unbelievable as a Liverpool fan, so lucky we have him at our club. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier. A couple of months ago, some Liverpool fans, not all, were kind of overreacting because Salah dipped and Liverpool were getting some bad results. But yeah, Salah's a Liverpool legend, it goes without saying, and he's going to win his second Premier League title. Beardy says, hi Dylan, good to see you. I'm going to captain Salah every week. Yeah, same here. Until the wheels fall off. I just can't see myself going against him. Yeah, I mean, any fixture right now looks good. Only reason not to captain Salah is when chasing others in a mini league. Yeah, luckily in my kind of mini leagues, some people went for Haaland or Palmer and stuff, so I just stick with Salah. I'm on a red with 49 from free. That's fine, mate. Trust me, you're going to get a green arrow, unless your remaining 8 players have a stinker, because you've only had 3 players feature and you've got 49 points, so trust me, that'll turn into a green. I had Sarr and Munoz as jellyfish. Yeah, disappointing. Very disappointing. And I didn't... Oh, you could probably tell by my reaction in the deadline stream when I made that late transfer. I wasn't convinced about Gordon, Sarr. Eze crossed my mind and he was in my poll, but even with that, I'm not enthralled by the options. I don't like them. 59 points so far, says Beardy. LLJ says 71. Eman says 58. OR 14, 53. And then Harry 73. So a lot of good scores flying around. Jack says, good morning, Dylan from New Zealand. 55. It's before bonus. Hope you had a good Christmas. Yeah, it's going to be 60 plus then, especially if you captain Salah. And assuming you've got Trent as well. In that case, it's looking very good. You bought in Jimenez for João Pedro. Good guess, good guess. I'll just say it right now, I didn't buy Jimenez. I'm not keen on him, and I said this in the deadline stream. He scored a brilliant header today, but no, Jimenez not. It's not that one, but maybe you're right. Van Dijk hold? I think so. Now, if you've got a really strong team and you're happy with it, maybe you could make a swap to Trent, but that's kind of like a luxury transfer. Thank you, Alejandro. Yeah, it's my 22nd birthday today. Thank you very much. Trent saving me, says Nixie. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I don't have Trent. 15 points from him with maximum bonus. Really good stuff. Cunha with a brace against Forest upcoming. If he plays. We'll see if he's injured or suspended by then. Thank you, Sydney. Ziad, 59 points from 5 players. Trent and Diaz beside Salah was great for me. Yeah, one mistake or error from my team selections this year is not having enough from Nottingham Forest or Liverpool. You know, only having Salah between the top 2 teams currently is definitely a mistake. Ideally, I'd have triple Liverpool and double Nottingham Forest, and that's something I'm looking to build towards in the coming weeks, despite Forest having some challenging games on the horizon. Does Slot plan to not give Salah any rest? It's insane the amount of minutes he keeps racking up with us, only reaching the halfway point. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there will come a time where Liverpool's lead is insurmountable, and with Saka injured for Arsenal, I just don't see Arsenal clawing up the gap. So, I mean, who is going to challenge Liverpool? Not Chelsea. Man City are too far behind. So, it could come fairly soon, actually, in the Premier League. Sooner than you'd expect, but let's wait and see. Benchwood for Jota. Yeah, but Jota came off the bench and scored. It could have been worse, right? What do you think about Palmer tomorrow? He's not matching Salah, in my opinion, but I think I said this a couple of weeks ago when Salah was about to play Tottenham. And can't remember. Who was the one who did really well? I think it was Isak. Yeah, he scored the hat-trick. And I said, no, I don't think Palmer or Salah will match that. And then Salah betted it. So, yeah, with Palmer, it's possible, but unlikely. I like Strand Larsen. Yeah, as a budget forward, he will do well every 2 or 3 game weeks. At that price and below, you can't really complain. He's certainly better than João Pedro at the moment, which isn't saying much. Sujan says, sell Cunha for Wood for the price changes. I mean, you're not going to be priced out, are you? Now, I made an early transfer because I just said, you know what, I don't care about FPL at this point, so I just made the move. But yeah, I'd probably just wait in your case. But Chris Wood is probably going to go up in price, that is true. And for some reason, the price changes I showed you earlier in the deadline stream were inaccurate. They were from yesterday night, not from today. So I'm going to show you the updated versions now. Before I do that, of course, I'll show you the updated FDR. Aston Villa are now top until Game Week 25, with Fulham, Crystal Palace, Liverpool and Southampton in the top 5. And if you look at those near the bottom, Wolves, Ipswich Town, West Ham, Leicester and Brentford. Predicted points, Salah's back on top. I say back on top. I think he was top this week as well, right? Maybe Palmer was slightly ahead. I can't remember. 7.7 versus 7.6. But Haaland is second, Palmer third. That makes up the podium. Then we've got Isak, Cunha, if he's fit, Mbumo, Wissa, Solanke, Chris Wood, and Robertson. This is for Game Week 20, of course. We still have some Game Week 19 fixtures yet to be played. So these are the updated price changes. Gakpo, Diaz, Isak, Murphy, Gabriel, Iwobi, Elanga, Cunha, and Chris Wood projected to rise. I'm not going to lie, I would not discount the possibility of me taking a -4 hit tonight. I've already made a transfer and buying somebody like Diaz in the midfield. Just putting it out there. Let's also go to Drafthound, and their updated player rankings for the next 3 game weeks include Salah, who has 10.9 predicted points against Man United, Palmer, Haaland, Isak, Diaz, Trent, Gakpo, Foden, Bernardo Silva and Gordon make up the top 10. Unless, is there any reason to check this? Maybe not, but the top 100 captains, Salah is top, and he's pretty much number 1 every single week, with good reason. I think you need a lot of different factors to kind of go against Salah for the captaincy, and Palmer might do really well tomorrow and get double-digit haul, but yeah, Salah's effective ownership, the consistency, the output, that's 11 games in a row now in the Prem with a return, is simply staggering. He's blanked, what, 3 times this season, or twice? I lost count at this point, and he's got 10, 11, 12 double-digit hauls. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's doing this season, and he could break all sorts of records at the moment. Let's go to fpl.team and show you a sneak preview of my Game Week 20 squad, but it's worth mentioning I have made a transfer, and I'll discuss that in my team selection. But I am tempted by starting Valdimarsson if Flecken is still out injured because of the Southampton away fixture, and kind of trimming down my Arsenal defence, at least for this week, with Gabriel already in place against Brighton away. Colwell and Robinson, I think, is a fairly decent defensive line, so I don't need to make a transfer necessarily now in that position. And then Palmer, Salah, Mbumo, Semenyo, and watch, when I actually start Semenyo, he's going to do absolutely nothing as usual. I think he's got 1 return for me this season against Southampton, the first time I bought him on my Game Week 6 wildcard. Ever since that, it's been pain, pain, and pain. Joao Pedro, Jackson, Isak is a decent front three, but you've got an imposter among them. Joao Pedro has not been good enough. Maybe he'll do something against Villa tomorrow, but he is still on the chopping block for me. My bench includes Raya, Sarr, Veltman, and Van den Berg at the moment, but I could do something like this. I honestly don't care at this point. So Diaz in for Semenyo, or even Jota is an option, and just kind of stomach the benchings. And I think Liverpool will go just wreak absolute havoc on Man United, if I'm honest. It would take a miracle for United to do anything in that game. So yeah, that is something that's in my plans, but I'll discuss that more in the team selection because there's still a long way until the next deadline, and we still got games yet to be played in Game Week 19. So next up will be FPL Challenge. I did switch the armband from Salah to Palmer just because I wanted to kind of jinx him a little bit, and I have found that my FPL Challenge captains haven't been great. So yeah, with Palmer, I mean, his effective ownership won't be that bad. So do I even care if he gets a return? Not really, especially with Salah doing what he did. So yeah, it was kind of a flop so far. Mateta blanked, Cunha subbed off with an injury, only a 1-pointer. Haaland's going to get 8, so not too shabby. And actually, now that I remember, I think my challenge score will be 30 once Salah and Haaland's bonus points are added. So I'm going to change that quickly, although FPL Challenge, just a bit of fun really. Hopefully they do add certain things that make it more important, I guess. Or, I don't know, raises the stakes a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. I'd be very interested to see your thoughts in terms of ideas to make the game even more important in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, 30 points, it's not great, and a lot of flops already. So yeah, definitely not winning FPL Challenge this week. Let's put it that way. And let's go back to my FPL team, which has more points at least, but still very underwhelmed. And look, if Semenyo had been in my starting 11 and I didn't buy Sarr, you know, that would have been 3 returns out of 3, and it looks pretty good. I think I will get a green arrow, by the way. But yeah, obviously, staring at a red on the Saturday night is not what you want to see. But I'm not really thinking too much about it because I've got 8 players yet to play. Alisson and Van Dijk hold. Depends on your circumstances, right? I've always said my favourite way of covering Liverpool defensively is Trent. But yeah, if you've got the funds available and you're happy with the rest of your team, Van Dijk to Trent, okay, it could work. But before today, let's be honest, Van Dijk has offered better value for money than Trent this season. I captain Palmer for the vibes. Yeah, fair enough. And if you're a Chelsea fan, you know, it's a fantasy game. You pick your favourite players sometimes and roll with it. And Palmer is one of the best captaincy options every single week. He's the only one, I think, who can rival Salah on a consistent basis, and Haaland would be another if Man City can build a run together. Ideal front three, Isak, Jackson and Chris Wood for me, but Gakpo is very close, I'm not going to lie. He deserves a lot of mentions, of course, and I probably should have covered him more on this channel. He'd be in the top 5, but I'm going to stick with my favourite front three. Jackson could be benched tomorrow, and I'd still favour him over Gakpo slightly. Benches Raul, 72, 4 left. Yeah, but you got a great score, so it's not really too big of a deal. Timber over Milenkovic. For next week, I think I'd start Milenkovic. I have said before, I think Arsenal drop points in one of the next 2 games, and I think they'll concede in one of those matches. So, yeah, look, Arsenal have the best defence, but I'd probably start Milenkovic. Thoughts on Bowen and Van Dijk to Trent and Eze for 2 free transfers? Oh, looks really good. I'll be honest though, I'm looking at Eze. I think the best time to buy him would have been last week. And look, he scored against Chelsea early in the season. I actually had him for that game. And he got 10 points. But yeah, once again, it comes down to the fact that there aren't many standouts in the midfield. So Eze's okay. But if you can stretch to Gordon or Diaz, I think that's probably where you want to go. Transfer Bruno and Pedro to Sarr and Woodworthy? Yes. I think Chris was a great transfer. Ismaila Sarr, a bit like Eze, maybe the best time to have bought him was Southampton. And of course, Sarr blanked in that game. He missed a big chance and had some good stats, but didn't deliver any returns. Muñoz's miss was very poor, to be honest. Yeah, maybe. Dylan, you should have swapped Veltman for Trent. Yeah, but last week Veltman got me 8 points and Trent blanked. Of course, he would have made up for it this week, but I mean, ultimately what I should have done is not bought Bruno Fernandes in the first place. There's a lot of things I shouldn't have done this season, but not regrets any... Yeah, I don't really have regrets about not buying Trent for Veltman last week necessarily, but of course I'd love to have Trent in my team this week or the week after, and I might still find a way to buy him in, but it would require a -4 or a -8 hit. Eze plus Trent got me into the top 1 million. What the hell's going on with Salah? Beats me, mate. I went for Foden punt. It was either him or Gordon for Bowen. Yeah, and look, I think this was probably Foden's worst performance of the recent games. He was better in the Manchester derby. I think that was, you know, really, really encouraging despite the loss there. And in the recent game against Everton, I think Foden was also very promising. This game, I don't think he played well, but he had that shot which was saved by the goalkeeper and it gave Savio a tap-in. So, yeah, look, Foden has good fixtures, but he doesn't justify that price tag. Lanky Lame says, hi, gutted for the Cunha sub at half-time, but 52 of the team today, cannot complain much. Yeah, and I think with what Cunha's delivered recently, you can forgive him for that. Missing from 10 yards out was unexpected from Muñoz. Yeah, I mean, he was laughing about it afterwards. But yeah, once I saw Eze score, I switched off from that game. Mo the Man does it again, says Gary. Suhas says, many, many happy returns of the day. Have a wonderful and blessed year ahead. Thank you. Likewise to you, Suhas. I have 5 free transfers. Yeah, I hope that's the case for me as well. Happy birthday, Dylan. Just to let you know, it's not actually my birthday. That's a friend of mine who was just trolling. FML, can't believe I picked Gavardio over Trent. Just saying because he was more differential. 49 from 4 players. Yeah, and I think I was asked earlier about doing Gavardio to Trent, I think it was. And I was still quite bullish on Gavardio because he's got good fixtures. But I did say ultimately I would do it. But yeah, I don't think anybody expected Trent to get 15 points today. And West Ham were completely awful. Yeah, same here. It was kind of similar with me with Haaland earlier this season. I'd rather have a balanced team. Gordon or Chris Wood, who is better? Probably Chris Wood. If Palmer, Isak and Raya get 13 points, I'll have 100. You're going to get that. Hey Dylan, Salah could have easily had a hat-trick. He's unreal. Yeah, I mean, the form he's in is simply staggering. And look, teams like West Ham, they got battered the other week by Arsenal. They got battered again. They're just a terrible defence. Cunha subbed off at half-time and Sarr stinker. Yeah, I regret buying Sarr already, so... It was 2-0 win for City, but our backline was still all over the place. Yeah, Leicester should have scored. They had 3 big chances. But Man City's quality ultimately prevailed this time round. Do I do Raya to sells to enable Joao Pedro to Wood? I'm on board with that. I'm not going to lie to you. And I like Raya. And I think Arsenal are, for me, the best defence in the league. But Forest are right up there with Liverpool too. And Everton would be top 4, top 5. So, yeah. Is 47 points with 4 players good? Yes, it is good. That's a good guess, and I was tempted, but no, that isn't it. Thoughts on Nico Williams as a cheap Forest defender? Yeah, I mentioned this in the deadline stream earlier today. My favourite ways of covering Forest defensively would be Aina, Milenkovic or Sells. And I think it's worth investing the extra millions in those 3, but I think Nico Williams at 4.3 million and below is absolutely fine. Very interesting most points, goalkeeper Sells, defence Aina, midfield Salah and Cunha up front. Yeah, and Chris Wood could ultimately become #1 striker very soon. It's ridiculous, right? But it's a crazy season. I don't think anybody expected this. The Man City drop-off, Arsenal not capitalising. I thought Liverpool do well, but I didn't expect them to be dominating the league like this. And then Forest to be second. I mean, there's a lot of surprises this season. 64 points, including bonus. Good stuff, easy 99. Transfer surely Pedro to Wood. Don't even need Drafthound for that one, says Alex. You might know me very well, that's all I'm going to say. Sahil says Jackson to Wood and Pedro, Isak, Bruno to Elanga, Mazraoui to Robinson for free transfers. Yeah, and you've got 5 available, don't you? Yeah, I like all of them. There's not really much more to say. Elanga's in good form as well. I think he will tail off, but yeah, Elanga's showing consistency, which you want, especially, you know, when you're struggling for those budget midfielders. Once I bought Ismail Assar, I did say I don't trust him to be consistent, but a return today would have been nice. Yeah, I don't really see any issues with your transfers. The only one I've got a slight question mark about is Elanga. If Jackson blanks tomorrow, Jackson to a 7 million striker and Joao Pedro to Wood? I mean, if Cunha wasn't injured/suspended, because I think one of the two will happen, then yeah, I'd say, you know what, go for Cunha and Chris Wood, and then you couple that with Isak, you've got the perfect front line. Maybe you go for Cody Gakpo too, but I think I'd keep Jackson, to be honest. And he might be benched, by the way, but I'd just keep him. Yeah, same here. Once I bought him, I regretted it. So, look, he rotates nicely with Semenyo, and even he's on the chopping block, but it is what it is. I'm happy with my next transfer, my final one of 2024. So, we'll see how that goes. ESR to Gordon, 2 5 free transfers. Yeah, looks good to me. Fund11 says, Joao Pedro to Wood, 100% you did it. Dryhill says, Gameweek 20, start Wood and Howson or Munoz and Sarr. Chris Wood and Howson. I would not be benching Chris Wood against Wolves. Chris Wood in. So a lot of people are guessing. You know, they're kind of in agreement with my transfer. Proper front three is Isak, Nico and Wood. Can't go wrong with it, says Trini. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the best front three. You've got the likes of Gakpo, Solanke, and a few others there. But that is my favourite front three right now. And of course, that could change fairly soon, but that's the way I look at it. All right, so if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe for new, I'd very much appreciate. And thank you to those that did it. The SAS, Son and Solanke play like Dad's Army today. Yeah, Solanke was terrible today, and Son missing the penalty. I've said before, I don't think Son's worth the price tag. And the same could be said about Foden, but he got that kind of FPL assist today. Do I go Raya to sells to enable Joao Pedro to Wood? I said it earlier, I probably would. Challenge doing awesome here. Good stuff, Gary. Not in my case, but to be honest, I don't really care. Best Fulham attack, in your opinion? It's probably Jimenez, but he's going to be rotated with Manice. I don't like Smith Rowe and Iwobi that much, and I don't like most midfielders in the game. 55 points of Raya, Gabriel, Palmer, Enzo, Jackson, Isak left. Yeah, good score. Great players left. You could even be targeting 100. Is it time to sell Enzo for Diaz after this game week? Yeah, I've never been fond of Enzo Fernandez. I've said that all along. I got points for Semenyo, Raul, and sells on the bench. Oh, yeah, that's bench boostable, as we say. That's a bit unfortunate, I think. Enzo to Gordon or Joao Pedro to Wood. I think the bigger upgrade is Enzo to Gordon, if I'm honest, but I do like Chris Wood as well. Chris Wood is being annoying now, and getting him now feels like chasing points. My best move this season was starting the campaign with Chris Wood, and my best transfer was buying Cunha around Gameweek 10-11. So, yeah, not having Chris Wood is always a bit of a pain. Whenever Forest score, you back him to, be involved and get bonus points, and that happened today. And it didn't in the previous 3 games, but Forest are just such a solid team right now, and yeah, they deserve to be where they are. Forest are on 3 consecutive clean sheets. Can you see them making it 4? That's my concern. They could, but they are facing a Wolves side that have that manager bounce. They're unbeaten under Vitor Pereira, so they could make it 4 consecutive games. I think Forest could keep a clean sheet against any team. They did it at Liverpool, which is something no other Premier League team have done this season, so I wouldn't discount it, but if you're asking me now, I think it also depends on Cunha. If Cunha starts, I think Forest will probably concede a goal. I have Gordon already, and I don't think I want to triple up on Liverpool in case I want Slot. That also crossed my mind. I am planning to use the assistant manager chip on Arne Slot. Do I go Raya to sells? Yeah, that's been covered, mate. Transferring Aina or Trent, it depends on your budget and also who you're selling and your kind of structure, but yeah, it's probably Trent at this moment in time, but I do like Aina. Ideally, you'd have both and then go for an Arsenal defender and then cheap options. Would you do Joao Pedro to Wood for a hit? I think long term I probably would. I'd probably just take the hit and settle with it. Also Mateta, I wasn't that keen on him today. I included in my FPL challenge team a late change for Nicholas Jackson, but I don't like him in FPL. He's got 4 goals this season. I definitely wouldn't be investing against Chelsea, but having said that, I would not be surprised if he scores against Chelsea, then blanks against Leicester and frustrates owners. But yeah, I think there are better options elsewhere. You're looking at Isak, Jackson, Gakpo, Chris Wood. I think those are better. Are you getting Trent by any chance? No, he's not leaving next week. He's going to leave probably at the end of the season on a free contract to Real Madrid. That's what's, kind of circulating at the moment. There's no chance he leaves in January. Gakpo or Wood? Gakpo's a good differential and he's showing consistency. I prefer Chris Wood, personally. Best midfielder to buy in Gameweek 20? They're all terrible. Apart from Salah and Palmer, I think it's just pick your poison. Maybe Diaz against Man United if you back him to start. Is it time to drop Sarr? I just bought him in, so ideally I wouldn't do that, but I might just take the hit because I really just couldn't care less, and I might just go for Diaz. I'm just putting it out there now. It would have to be tonight, though, because I've got nothing left over in the bank, and it would mean benching Semenyo in my case, so I think in most cases you keep Sarr. Who should I transfer out for next game week? Aït-Nouri, bench cover, or Pedro, and for who? I mean, Aït-Nouri got the clean sheet against United, 2 assists today. I'd rather sell Joao Pedro at this moment in time. I couldn't get less on Aït-Nouri. That red card was the final straw, says Elika. Yeah, I don't blame you there. Haven't picked the correct captain since Gameweek 11, no joke. Yeah, I think captaincy is so important because in some of my recent weeks, I've got a narrow green arrow because I picked the right captain, but yeah, when you get it wrong and you're having a lot of blanks, it can feel like your season's falling apart. But look, at the moment, it's hard to see anybody apart from Salah. Owning Foden isn't fun. Price isn't justified. I agree, but he got the assist today. Good performances recently. And once again, it comes down to the Saka void. You don't have that third consistent option to partner Palmer and Salah, and that opens up the game, which makes it interesting from one perspective. But yeah, I'm not really appealed by these options. I don't like most midfielders right now. Yeah, Bruno to Diaz for free. The thing is, though, if you kept Bruno this week, are you really going to sell him now when he's got Southampton and Brighton in the next 3? 2 opponents that he's got a good record against? I don't know. But yeah, I think Diaz is an upgrade. If you had Haaland, would you hold? It depends on several factors, but if you're happy with your team, I'd keep Haaland, yeah. Odegaard to who, says Hassan. Need 2.1 million to get Chris Wood. In that case, you could still go for Ismail Assar. You'd also be looking at Rodgers. I'd probably go for Rodgers, actually. I captain Palmer this game week. If he blanks, my season is over. I mean, I'm not sure if that's actually the case. If you're having a good season, if you're in a good rank right now, I'm not sure if that's the case. What if Cunha and Wood go up in price? Do I need to sell Cunha before or after price changes, or won't it matter? It depends when you bought Cunha. And yeah, if he goes up by 0.2 million, so you gain 0.1 million in selling value. Otherwise, you're basically going to lose out in terms of value and stuff. It's not really going to make any impact. If anything, it'll make it more difficult to buy Chris Wood. I bought Sar 2. I'm looking to bench him next game. We can start him in 21. Yeah, and just like I said with Mateta, I would not be surprised at all if Sar does well against Chelsea and then blanks against Leicester, and he's on my bench in the more difficult fixture and in my 11 for a so-called plum game. Rodgers or Elanga? Rodgers still, but Elanga is in good form. It's worth mentioning. The cheap midfielder market is so bad right now. I mean, last season we had Palmer at 5 million. That was a no-brainer. Rodgers is good. I think Semenyo is okay. I don't really like him, to be honest, because he does really well when you bench him in a lot of cases, and he obviously blanks when you start him in plum fixtures. But yeah, I tend to agree. It's just Rodgers, for example, is decent. I don't think he's terrible, but not somebody who inspires a lot of confidence. I captain Palmer, feel a bit lucky Salah didn't score more. Yeah, look, I don't blame people for going for Palmer. I think he's a great shout. He was second in my list for captaincy options. But yeah, Salah, I said this before, the West Ham team, decimated by injuries and suspensions, I just could not see anything other than a Liverpool win. But it was even worse than I expected, to be fair. Which is the most safe transfer? Pedro to Gakpo or Enzo to Diaz? That is a good question. I think the safe pick would be Enzo to Diaz. Now, if you argue from a minutes perspective, Gakpo's been nailed on in the last 7 game weeks whilst Diaz hasn't. So maybe from that point of view, it isn't safe. But I think from an FPL point of view with the players you're talking about, I do think it's a bigger upgrade. Bringing Eze look good today? Nah, not for me. I mean, look, Eze played really well, but I'm not looking to buy him next week. Time to sell Son. He faces Newcastle and Arsenal next. I think he gets a return in one of them, but he doesn't justify that price tag. The problem is, who do you go to? Maybe Diaz or Jota, but you're going to get rotation there. I'm 33 points off safety. What score do you have? Once again, though, I have to say to people, don't look too much into your current, rank situation if you've got a red or a green, because if you've only had 2, 3 or 4 players feature, you've got a long way to go. BMAX says, Wood for Pedro or Trent for Timber? I'd rather buy Chris Wood for Pedro personally, but I do like the Trent pick, I'm not going to lie. And eventually, what I'd recommend is making both moves work, which might require a downgrade elsewhere, but yeah, I'd prioritize Chris Wood. Is Gordon a good player to bring in? Yes, he is a good player to bring in. Not amazing, but still decent. Watch Palmer score 4 tomorrow. It's never say never, right? But I don't think that'll happen. Wood might be set and forget for a squad, I guess. Exactly that. And I only sold him to buy Jackson, but yeah, my forward transfers and midfield moves have been awful recently. Slight preference for Diaz, Jack. I think Diaz will start more games than Jota, and you also look at the injury records of both players. I think that also plays a big part. Now, if Jota could play the same amount of minutes as Diaz, it'd be no contest, but that's not the case. I'd be doing so well if I could have nailed the captain because I've got Isak, Robinson, and a lot of the good picks when they've hauled. It's literally just having Captain Salah. I've picked Palmer. Well, Palmer's done well, right? But it's just Salah's been extraordinary, so it kind of feels redundant, so I get what you're saying. Twisted Parky says, attacking 8, Gordon, Salah, Rodgers, Palmer, Mbumo, Isak, Pedro, Jackson. Get Wood tonight for Pedro? Yeah. I don't like early transfers, but it does seem like a no-brainer. Nottingham Forest are second in the Premier League table. Chris Wood is the talisman for them. He gets bonus points on a consistent basis, and Joao Pedro is so difficult to predict when he's going to return. I think he'll do something against Villa or Arsenal, but Chris Wood will outscore him comfortably. Iwobi, I said this before with him. He's an okay budget midfielder, but he's going to return when you least expect him to. I prefer Rodgers. I also prefer Semenyo and even Ismail Assar, dare I say. But yeah, I think Rodgers is the best of a bad bunch. Trini says, Dylan, you have me because you just described this exactly how FPL goes. Yeah, look, there are some good moments in FPL, but yeah, in terms of the Saturday and stuff, it's fun to talk about, how we're doing so far. Well, I say Saturday. We are on Sunday, by the way, but technically it's like a Saturday deadline stream or reaction stream. But yeah, it's like that. Jellyfish says, who to play next week, Eze or Gordon? Gordon. But Eze did get 10 points. against Chelsea earlier this season, and I had him for that. One of my good moments, my very few good moments of the season. Yeah, nice one, Sandri. 50 points with 6 to go. Yeah, you got some good players left. I'm not a big fan of Odegaard FPL-wise, but the rest is pretty good. Joao Pedro is sellable, though, I have to say. 58 points with 7 to go. Surely Salah is just permanent captain for the rest of the season. Yeah, until his form dips, which might be in April, might be in March, it might be never, but I think it will happen. The 2 matches he didn't, he got 9 points against Brighton and Leicester. Yeah, exactly that. Only 2 blanks as well, right? It's simply ridiculous. Cunha out for Watkins just to get more pain. I like Watkins as a short-term punt, but you're basically buying him for one game week where he definitely starts, and then you've got Duran coming back from suspension. So he becomes a risk again in game week 21. Curtis Jones has been decent at 5.3 million, 6 returns and 9 starts, and started 4 the last 5. Great shout, a good point. I was never going to mention Curtis Jones because it might be boring, but you know, you've got Salah, goes without saying. Gakpo, Diaz, Jota. I'd rather go for any single one of those options, not to mention Trent, Van Dijk at the back. But yeah, Curtis Jones as a budget midfielder has been really impressive in recent weeks. No brainer, keep Foden for now, says Andrew. Timber or Milenkovic for Gomez? I'd rather invest in Milenkovic, to be honest. Nico Williams is fine, but I prefer Milenkovic and Aina. Play one of Aina or Sarr? Aina. Sarr, Munoz or Pedro, which better to start in game week 20? If I had to pick one, it's probably Pedro. I'm not going to lie to you. Game week 20, play Munoz or sell Enzo to Rodgers or someone else. Enzo to Rodgers. I actually like that move, not going to lie. Thank you to Stapaki. Start Evanilson or Fernandes in game week 20. Evanilson. I have Alisson, looking to move him to sells so I can occupy the 3rd Liverpool spot with Slot for the assist manager. Yeah, I'm also looking at something similar in terms of buying a 2nd Liverpool player, which could be Trent or Diaz, and Gakpo up front isn't, you know, an impossibility. But I am looking to save 1 spot for the Dutch manager. Is Elanga worth getting? He's been showing consistency, which is rare for a budget midfielder. I would probably avoid him though, and if you want to buy 2 or 3 Forest players, I'd be looking at Chris Wood, Aina/Milenkovic, and Sells and Gore. 55 points of Gordon, Palmer, Rodgers, Isak to play. Yeah, great score. You've got the points on the board, and you've got 4 players left who are of good quality. The lack of Forest assets can only be us turning our noses up at them. Yeah, I agree. Now, I had Chris Wood from game week 1 to game week 15 or something like that, game week 16. And I regretted selling Chris Wood. He got a return against United, then blanked 3 times in a row. And I benched him against City just before selling him. But yeah, that 12 points against Everton, his best return of the season. Duran is banned for 3 games, but it includes an FA Cup tie, so he only misses Brighton and Leicester. Salah will get 2 bonus points, Trent gets 3. These live streams always make me feel better after a stinker, thanks Dylan. I'm glad to hear it. Maybe it helps that sometimes I'm the one having a stinker or doing worse, so it makes people feel better. But yeah, still early days, of course. It's just a lot of people like the early reaction streams, which is why I do it. And yeah, it's nice to talk about initial feelings and thoughts going into the next deadline. And I'm sure I'll have maybe more time to think some things over for the videos coming up. The transfer tips, best wildcard team, and the team selection. Another good score there by Shem, the Kenyan. Patrick says, hi Dylan, did Enzo to Eze, and glad I did. Nice one. 69 points with 6 to go. Trent, Robinson, Eze, Salah captain, and Diaz played, so up to 312k. Yeah, great rank rise and very strong position to be in. At this point, I prefer selling Joao Pedro than Cunha. I agree, but Cunha came off of an injury. We don't know how serious that is. You've got poor fixtures, and the ban is imminent. I don't know when it's going to happen. My guess would be in the new year. So for game week 20 or 21, I think Cunha gets the ban for 3 to 5 matches, but that's literally a guess. It's not educated or anything, and I could be completely wrong about it. Curtis loved late runs in the box. Great one for his price, in my opinion. Yeah, you might be onto something there. It's just, I think Liverpool spots are so important, especially if you're planning to use the assistant manager chip very soon on Arne's slot for a potential double in game week 24 or 25. I'm hoping for a solid green. Yeah, same at Twisted Parky. Still possible. I think the Monday games will be very telling. Chris Wood or Raul? No contest. Chris Wood is a much better option. Nabin puts his team. What should I do? 2 free transfers. Yeah, goalkeeper's absolutely fine. I think Pickford's still the best one in the game. I think Sells, Raya, and Sanchez would be closely behind, probably in that order. Defense is absolutely sound. You don't need to make a change there. It's really the midfield and forward line. I know Raul produced the goods this week, but I'd be tempted to do Raul to Chris Wood. And you could even sell one of Ahmad or Iwobi for Morgan Rogers, but that's kind of like a luxury pick, dare I say, but that's what springs to mind for me. Rogers in for Iwobi, and I would also buy Chris Wood for Raul. I don't know how much money you have in the bank, though. Yeah, Murillo, look, he's going to get clean sheet points and stuff like that. And with Forest, I've always said this, my favourite ways of covering them are Aina, Milenkovic, and Sells in goal. But yeah, Murillo's not too shabby. Is Foden injured? I'm not sure, to be honest. I think with Foden anyway, he's not worth that price. The return today was quite fortuitous, and he played quite poorly. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he was injured, but I'll have a look right now. Because with the City game, I watched the first half and switched it off because, yeah, I was kind of bored. I knew what was going to happen despite City's frailties recently. Leicester should have scored, though, in the second half. They had some big chances. So let's check what's happening with Foden. I don't think so. If you're referring to the substitution, I don't think it was injury-related, but correct me in the live chat if I am wrong. All right. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, because I didn't hear anything about him being injured. Which midfielder should I get with 9 million budget? I don't like Odegaard. I was quite keen on him when he first came back from injury. He was getting returns every single game. Arsenal scoring 5 goals past Sporting and West Ham, but I just don't think he's worth the money. Who would you go for? Apart from Salah and Palmer, of course, you're saying 9 million. I think you'd probably fill your midfield with a Liverpool attacker like Diaz or Jota. Diaz being my preference, and Anthony Gordon. Now, this week, you could even invest in Mbeumo, but he does face Liverpool and Man City at home very soon. So, yeah, it might be an awkward time to buy if you look at the next 4 fixtures, but probably one of those 3. Should I go Jesus to Wood for Gameweek 20? Yes. The way Leicester played showed that City still show where City are right now. Yeah, I completely agree. It was a flattering scoreline for City. The Cunha injury is calmer. Can see repercussions coming end of the season with the delay suspension, whilst the FA are drinking and eating turkey. Yeah, look, I think if Wolves stay up and it's only a matter of points, you could look at that Cunha suspension and how long it took them to do it. And yeah, the FA, I mean, I'm not surprised by it, to be fair. Hello, what do you think about Gibbs White? I'd rather buy Chris Wood up front, but when Gibbs White gets a return, he's a bonus points magnet. That's the good thing about him. But for me, I think the best structure is 1 or 2 Nottingham Forest defenders / the goalkeeper and Chris Wood up front. Robinson or Aina? Next week it'd be Robinson, but it's a close call. Not sure what you mean by that. Foden is still the best high-budget midfield pick in the short term. I mean, he's not a budget midfielder. He's quite expensive. Not premium, I'd say, but very close to that price threshold. Is he the best of a bad bunch? Maybe he is, but he hasn't been good enough this season. Bench 1 next week, says Truth Ton. Johnson, Sarr, Joao Pedro. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of any of them next week. If I had to pick one to bench, it's probably going to be Joao Pedro. KFC Boy says, can you recommend 2 transfers? Raya, not sure who that is. Robinson, Lewis, Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka, Dunk, Enzo, Palmer, Rogers, Salah, Bruno, Wood, Jackson, Isak. Yeah, never been a big fan of Wan-Bissaka. I know he got 9 points last week, but that's about it, really. I would consider upgrading Dunk and Enzo. You've kept Bruno Fernandes, so probably worth holding on to, maybe benching in Gameweek 20. But yeah, I'd be looking to upgrade Dunk and Enzo. So what you could do, I don't know your funds to be fair, so I'll have to guess this, but you could do Dunk to... I wouldn't even mind going for a budget defender, like 4.3 million and below, but I'd probably recommend Aina / Milenkovic for Dunk. And I would also do something like Enzo to I mean, that's kind of like a luxury transfer, to be fair. Enzo, you could even keep for this week, but I think the priority for you would be Dunk to Milenkovic/Aina, depending on your funds. Thank you, Fintax Academy. 2 free transfers on tight budget. Joao Pedro to Wood and Ahmad to Dibbling. Dibbling scored today, his second Premier League goal of the season, but I'm not too keen on that particular pick. I'm guessing you're saying that sort of downgrade to be able to afford Chris Wood. And in that case, fair enough. But I'm just wondering if you've got anything else to facilitate that Chris Wood move. Because I still prefer Ahmad over Dibbling, if I'm honest. Havertz scored in the last 2 games, but Arsenal just aren't free-flowing. They're struggling to score goals and create chances. I think they'll drop points in the next couple of games, and I'm not that appealed by Havertz or any Arsenal attacker. I'd rather buy Gakpo. And my favourite forwards are Isak, Chris Wood, and Jackson in that order. I would say Cunha, he'd be number 2 for me, but the imminent suspension and the injury today definitely sway me against him. Would he do Foden to Gordon? I like Anthony Gordon. And I think he's a better option than Foden, especially in terms of value. But I'd probably keep Foden for next week and then reassess going into Gameweek 21. Yeah, it's worth getting Trent in, but is he like... Does he justify that price tag? I don't think he does, but he is, or at least he's the most exciting defender in the game. He's got the high ceiling. He showed it today with 15 points. He's not going to score that many goals, but when he does get those goal contributions, mainly through assists, he's going to get some bonus points. So, yes, he is worth it. Christie should have been red carded. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, not much more needs to be said about referees and their inconsistencies because, you know, they're quick to kind of be strict on certain things that seem quite small in the grand scheme of things, but for a red card challenge, they just, I don't know, give a yellow card or ignore it. So, Bremi FC says, bench 3 out of these, Lewis, Mikolenko, Castagna, Iwobi, Sarr, Mateta, Enzo, Munoz, Cunha. I would look to bench... That's a difficult one, I'm not going to lie. I'd start Cunha, but there is a chance he's injured or suspended for that game. I think I'd bench Mikolenko here. Bournemouth obviously made that late comeback against them earlier this season. So I'd bench Mikolenko, Sarr, and Munoz. I'd start the rest, but very, very difficult one. You could easily say start Sarr over Mateta or maybe Munoz. Nice score there, 62 of 5 left. No worries, KFC. If Wolves stay up over Leicester or Ipswich by 1 or 2 points, I bet they will try to sue the Premier League over the Cunha incident. You could even argue that the reason why Cunha wasn't banned immediately was because he faced Leicester next, and we saw what happened between the Premier League and Leicester earlier this season, with Leicester City winning their case there based on kind of like a loophole in the wording of the FA. So, yeah, I think it's definitely sinister. Watkins, good option. Yes, but I was more keen on buying him this week for Gameweek 19 because you had 2 games where Watkins is going to play no matter what. Afterwards, you got Duran knocking on the door again. Thank you, Paolo. Sell Virgil to Gabriel to enable Jota, Slot, or Diaz. Yeah, I think that's a good move. Now, Liverpool kept the clean sheet today, and Van Dijk is still one of the best defenders in the game, but I'd argue Gabriel is even better, and it also allows you to get Diaz, Slot, or Jota. My preference right now would be Arne Slot for that assistant manager chip in Gameweek 24-25 if they double. Probably Tennis Alex, but I'm less keen on it now. You know, Nadal and Federer retiring in recent years. So the kind of big free era is, well, it's already at an end. And you've got Alcaraz, who makes it a little bit interesting, but yeah, Tennis is probably the one. Eze and Wissa or Semenyo and Gakpo. Semenyo and Gakpo, based on fixtures. I know Wissa plays Southampton away this week, but I wouldn't buy him in now. Finally, a good week, says Bongo Bongo. 59 points with Isak, Jesus, Jackson, Enzo, Palmer, Gabriel, and Timber left to play. Yeah, you've got a lot of players left. There might be some disappointments from those remaining players, but yeah, you're going to get a good score. Eze or Bowen, says Michael. Long term, I mean, the thing is, Palace's fixtures are much better. And Bowen came off of an injury today, it looked like. I'm not sure how serious it is. Probably Eze. Sell Grooves to Milenkovic or Aina. If you can afford it, then Aina. I think he's getting a bonus point today, if I'm not mistaken. Or bring in Chris Wood. I mean, who would you sell? Was it João Pedro or somebody else? Ideally, you do both, but my favourite is Chris Wood. Sandri says, if I'm not wrong, you're an Arsenal fan, Dylan. I think Odegaard is your best player. I like Odegaard a lot, but he can be very frustrating at times, and in recent games he's been terrible. If I'm being completely honest, I think he was terrible against Man United. He was terrible against Fulham. I can't really name a good performance in recent weeks. When he first came back from injury, you know, really impressive against Chelsea and all these different games. I think Sporting and West Ham. But yeah, I still want to see more from him. I think Saka is Arsenal's best player. He shows it with the output, and that injury kind of seals any kind of title charge for Arsenal. Buy Eze and sell Matoma. I'd sell Matoma, and I've said that for weeks now. I'm not that convinced about Eze. I mean, he's okay, but in recent weeks, Sarr has been better. And, of course, today Eze got a great goal to give Palace the win. But I'll be honest, I think all of them are going to be inconsistent. Should I consider selling Raya to Sells or Gabriel to Aina Milenkovic? I'd rather do Raya to Sells and keep Gabriel. But you don't have to make that. Why is my gut feeling saying everyone waiting on that 24-25 Gameweek to play assistant manager? That is the case for a lot of people. And I might do it myself, but I'm still going to look to add Liverpool players, at least one of them. Of course, getting a third one will make the assistant manager chip quite difficult to use for that potential double. Sell Kirkers next week to Robinson or Aina. That's a close one. Robinson will get more attacking returns. That goes without saying. It was a great cross on his right foot. It wasn't even that strong or powerful, but it found Wilson and was a great header from him. I'm probably going to say Robinson still, but I do like Aina, and I might look to buy him in very soon. Trent for me, but before today, it's quite clear that Virgil offered better value. But I always said with Trent, he's got that high ceiling, and because of the Saka money, and if you're not going with Haaland, you can spread the funds around, and it's easier to buy Trent. Unfortunately, in my case, I'm not able to do that, despite buying Ismaila Sarr, which is one of the good things about buying him instead of Gordon, for example, or Diaz. So, yeah, there's a lot to think about, especially in my case. Maddison twice not in the starting 11, sell or keep. The problem with Maddison is he could start against Newcastle or Arsenal and get a return, and then you regret selling him. But, yeah, right now I'm leaning towards sell. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you go to Diaz or Jota, for example, you'll find a similar issue there, although Diaz will start more games than Maddison, it seems. Bench or play João Pedro against Arsenal? It depends who your other option is, but I'd rather bench him if you can. 62 points of Palmer, Cole, Ahmad, Gabriel, Raya, Watkins, and a sec to go. Yeah, I think 100 plus is definitely on the cards. You're going to miss Nadal, one of my favourite athletes of all time. Yeah, look, he wasn't my favourite, but of course him retiring obviously makes tennis even worse. But yeah, in the last year or two, of course, it's quite clear the injuries and age have caught up to him. So he probably made the right decision, but it's still a shame, of course. You still want to see these great players, you know, feature. Can a system manager chip be used with another? No. And when you play the system manager chip, you can't play any other chip for 3 game weeks because it will be active for that period. Do you think Raya to Sells or Pickford and Wan-Bissaka to Aina? Or Pickford? Yeah, Raya to Sells or Pickford. I'd rather do Wan-Bissaka to Aina. That's the best upgrade. Apart from Isak and Jackson, who is the best forward? Chris Wood. I've said that all along. In the deadline stream today, in my wildcard video, very recently. If it wasn't for the suspension that's coming for Cunha, then he'd also be in that mix, arguably over Jackson, but yes, Chris Wood. Isak, Gakpo and Wood, my 3 attackers. That's a very strong front 3. Salah, 200 points in 18 matches, 1 postponement. Previous record took 25 games. Insane. Yeah. That's why, look, I know it sounds unlikely, but it's going to happen. He's going to have a downturn in form, but he's still going to end the season very strongly. He could easily get 30 goals and 20 assists. If he does that, that's an all-timer. Does a manager count as a player when using the chip? No, but it does count towards your transfers and also your budget. Now, when I say transfers, it's let me make this clear. So when you actually activate the chip and you pick a manager, that doesn't count towards a transfer. But if you decide to move and change it to a different coach, that's where it will count towards your transfers and, of course, your funds too. Freeing up budget to buy slot going to be a pain in the ass. Probably need to sell someone like Jackson for the duration. Yeah, I'm not even sure what price slot will be, but I'll buy him. I'll buy him, that's for sure. Chris Wood or Mateta or Solanke? Chris Wood. Chris Wood for sure. I went fancy on Captain Palmer on a red arrow with 47 points. That's not too bad though. I know you might think, oh Dylan, yeah, you're trying to comfort me. But hold up. You've got 6 players left. 47 points is okay. You could get a green arrow still, especially if Palmer gets a return. Could lead to bonus points and 10 plus. Yeah, I wouldn't be too pessimistic. I think Gabriel's still better than Trent, but ideally you go for both. Having Colwill over Williams is criminal. Forest have better defence than us, Chelsea. Yeah, but Colwill was very close to getting 12 points last week. Of course, he didn't get it, and I agree, Forest are better from that perspective. But look, I don't think Colwill is a bad player for me. I think Veltman and Van den Berg are even bigger issues in my defensive line. Do you think Jesus is a good option as he'll get more starts since Saka is out? I said this last week of Jesus. As a short-term punt, absolutely fine, but he's going to be inconsistent. He's going to frustrate you. You've got the likes of Solanke, who's more consistent. You've got Cunha, who I wouldn't invest in right now, to be fair. Chris Wood, Isak, Jackson, Watkins, not to mention a few others that have escaped me, like Gakpo. I think they're all better. A system manager does count as one of your free from a single club, though. Exactly that. That's something I didn't mention, but that is also true. I wouldn't go for Kulusevski. He's going to start consistently, but the goals and assists won't be consistent, in my opinion. Best maternal replacement, probably Diaz or Gordon. Sell Odegaard to Diaz to fund Joao Pedro to Wood? Yes. I'd probably just do that. Now, the only problem with Diaz is he's going to be benched from time to time, so he's not nailed on. But when he does start, he's got that high ceiling, so I don't mind it. Now, if I'm looking at my own team and like what I want to do, I'd rather buy Trent than Diaz, so that's why I might maintain my midfield structure, or if anything, downgrade one of them to buy Trent at the back. But in your case, I'd buy Diaz. Diaz and Chris Wood looks really good. El Canus impressed me today. It's a shame he doesn't have GA. Yeah, I think he got... he scored against West Ham in Ruud van Nistelrooy's debut. He's got something about him, but FPL-wise, I wouldn't be considering any Leicester player. The young Southampton striker at 4.9 million may be worth a good run of fixtures. It might be worth a punt. Yeah, not for me, to be honest. Frankie says Jota starting next week. And what, Gakpo starts on the left again and then Diaz benched? Maybe. But Diaz has a great record against United. He scored in the last 2 meetings, 3 goals at Old Trafford. But yeah, that's just, of course, one aspect of the team selection. Don't give up, everyone. I was 6,000 end of November. Then loads of injuries and red cards. Found myself in 100k. 7 red arrows out of 8. This week, 57 with 7 to play. Keep the faith. Yeah, I agree. But FPL can sometimes be a pain. And people are just like, you know what? Couldn't care less. Yeah, I still think Isak is the best forward in the game. No doubts about that in my mind. Is Raya to Sells or Pickford a good move? It's fine. I'd still think Pickford's the best goalkeeper in the game. Sells might offer the best value. And I would definitely invest in Forest defensively. But you don't need to sell Raya unless the extra money there will help you make an upgrade in another position, which could include Chris Wood or Gakpo, which might be on the cards. Considering we can't play any other chips during the assistant manager and all the possible double game weeks and blank possibilities, Game Week 24-26 does seem like the best time to play it. Well, that's my current plan. And Liverpool are very likely going to double in that period, in 24 or 25, and Honest Slot is my first choice there. Jesus Wood with 3 bonus points for a 12-pointer. I took a punt on Mateta and Wood. Punish me. Yeah, look, I don't really blame you for what you did, but I think I was asked this the week before, and I've always said, you know what, I'd rather just buy Chris Wood and save the transfers, and yeah, I should have kept him. Best midfielder at 6 to 7 million. Do I even say Eze? I'm not that sure. I'm not that keen on him. Maybe just Eze, but I'd rather invest in someone more expensive like Diaz or Gordon. It could even be Jota. Best time to play the assistant manager chip is Game Week phase 6, phase 7, phase 8. It might be, but I'm also looking at Game Week 24 to 26. I'm quite keen on that if Liverpool and Everton double there. So that is my current thinking. So yeah, if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this stream to 200 plus likes. That'd be greatly appreciated. All the games on the Sunday are done. We've still got plenty more on the Monday. And then on New Year's Day, Brentford versus Arsenal. Neither is Pedro at the moment. Really struggles without Welbeck. Yeah. Now, João Pedro could come good. And I think he will return soon. But he is on the chopping block for me. Do you think João Pedro will not get a blank? I think he returns against Aston Villa or Arsenal. I don't know which game exactly, but I really hope it's against Villa. And he blanks against Arsenal, but who knows. How did Salah not get 3 bonus points? Because Trent scored, he got the clean sheet, and Trent can be a bonus points machine. He hasn't really shown it this season, but today, he definitely did. Suhas puts his team. Should I sell Dibbling and buy Mbeumo, or sell Maddison and get Gordon? Dibbling to Mbeumo is a great upgrade. Having said that, I also like Gordon, but I'd probably prioritize Mbeumo. Yeah, I'd rather sell Dibbling, despite the goal today. Max07 says, -4 for Bruno to Diaz and João Pedro to Isak. Yeah. Now, Diaz could be benched next week against United. If not, the week after. That's what you have to be prepared for. But at least Pedro has pens, and Brighton are better than Southampton, says Twisted Parky. Oh yeah, I prefer him over the Southampton striker. But if you can do something like João Pedro to, let's say, I was going to say Cunha, I wouldn't invest in him now. Chris Wood or Gakpo, I think that's a no-brainer. I still don't know why I don't have a Forest defender. Same here, mate. It feels like that is always the most boring option, but would be often the best. Went with Munoz this week, while Forest just keep going strong. Yeah, if I was to buy a defender this week, it would have been Munoz, but yeah, we saw how that turned out. Who is better value for money, Gordon or Trent? That's a difficult one to say. Probably Anthony Gordon, because it's relative to the position. Trent is by far, maybe not by far, but he is the most expensive defender in the game. The only one priced at over 7 million, so I'd still say Gordon. Do you think I should sell Ahmad before João Pedro? Not necessarily. And it also depends who you buy as the replacement. Is it Rodgers? Maybe you go for Chris Wood for João Pedro. That also plays a big part. Animation says, would you move Mateta to Wood this week? Yeah, I would. Despite Mateta having good fixtures, I think Chris Wood just is a set and forget option. Jackson has such terrible finishing, he misses a lot of chances. Even Chelsea fans aren't his biggest fans. I've seen a lot of them kind of support him though in the last year. I think he ended last campaign strongly and he had a good start to this season, but yeah, it has tailed off in recent weeks. Likewise, Alex, have a happy new year. Keep or sell Foden, who would you buy? I'd probably keep Foden for now, but I'm not a big fan of him. I think the best midfielders in the game are Salah, Palmer, one of Jota or Diaz, Gordon. I still like Mbeumo, by the way, so he could also factor in. So I'd go for at least one of those 7 to 8 million midfielders and then finish that up with the likes of Rodgers in your team. My team value is like 103.5 million. It's not great. Chow from an Italian in Ireland. Any replacement for Ahmad? 5.4 million. I'd keep Ahmad in that case. If he had a little bit more, I'd suggest Rodgers. I would just keep Ahmad for now. The other one to consider will be Murphy, if you want to go there, but his minutes aren't exactly the most secure. For the first time, I'm considering triple Forest. Yeah, I've got 0 at the moment, but I'm looking to add 1 or 2 in the coming weeks. Trent or Gabriel? Gabriel still, but I do like Trent. I wish I had both. Yeah, Murphy's a good option, as I just said. Fabianski for Pickford or Sells? Pickford for me, but I don't mind Sells at all. And if you have no Forest defensive coverage, maybe make that a priority. But you could easily buy Aina, Milenkovic, or even Nico Williams as a budget option there. Were we really expecting a Liverpool clean sheet today? Well, I initially said 3-1 Liverpool and then changed my mind to 2-0. But I wasn't that convinced about a Liverpool clean sheet. But it happened. If Alan puts next, time to bring him in if you're trailing? Possibly. But I just think Haaland's way too expensive for what he offers, and you can build a really balanced team without him. Now, without Saka, it does open the door to buy Haaland back, that's for sure, but I can't see myself going to Haaland unless Salah gets injured. Is the best front three at the moment Jackson, Isak and Wood? I think so, but it would be Cunha instead of Jackson if it weren't for the suspension and the possible injury. I'm looking to free it later in the season in a blank or double game week. Might be after game week 30, for example. And I'm currently looking at playing the assistant manager chip in around Gameweek 24-25 if Liverpool double there. Yeah, Cunha came off of an injury. I'm not sure how serious it is, but yeah, I think he felt something. That's what Vitor Pereira said. He felt something and wanted to come off. When going with Diaz versus Jota, Jota seems more likely to come off the bench and score. I completely agree. And that's the point I've made with Jota time after time again. And that's why I wanted to buy him very recently. But with Diaz, I also think he's going to start more games, so it's a double-edged sword. After 8 weeks of starting Lewis for 1 and 2 pointers, decided to bench him. Thanks for nothing. Yeah, it's typical, right? But Leicester are down there for a reason. Maybe Bandido, but you do have Jackson, Isak, Gakpo, Chris Wood. There are other options actually up front. Even Solanke, despite the blank today, he'll be quite consistent. We had Murphy at Sheffield Wednesday. A few seasons back, he was dross. Yeah, but in the last 2 years for Newcastle, he's been a decent servant for them. He's not the greatest player, but he chips in with some decent production. I would not be buying Gabriel Jesus now. It's as simple as that. Yeah, if anything, against Ipswich Town, it was a nice time to buy him, but nah, not for me. Best Cunha replacement, Chris Wood. Any early moves made from you, Dylan? Yes. I'll discuss that in the team selection, but you can probably imagine what it is. Have a good New Year's and see you in 2025. Likewise, mate. Enjoy the festivities. Joe Gomez for Trent with 1 free transfer. Yeah. If you're going to be priced out especially, just pull the trigger. Kind of want a Forest defender, but they'll be rotated with Robinson for me. You could just start them in most weeks, you know, unless they're facing a City away or Liverpool, Arsenal away. I mean, I say Liverpool away, they did keep a clean sheet there, but you get what I mean. Yeah, I think a Forest defender is absolutely sound to start in most weeks. I don't mind that. Any Bowen injury updates? No. No, but I think it just pushes people towards selling him. I went 3-0 Liverpool. Should have gone for more. West Ham don't look great since Moyes left. I knew it was not the right time. Yeah, but West Ham were in a relegation scrap 2 years ago and they ended up winning the Europa Conference League. And last season, they lost 6-0 at home to Arsenal. So I know David Moyes did a good job overall, but I don't think West Ham fans were wrong for calling for change. It's just Lopetegui isn't the right guy, in my opinion. I think Cunha felt an incoming ban. Yeah. I think he'll be fine fairly soon, but it's either the injury or the suspension. Something's going to come along and he's going to miss a few games. Borro to Trent? Yeah, no doubts about it. Is it crazy to bench boost with Valdimarsson, Enzo, Hall, Munoz? If Flecken is still out injured, I'd consider it. It's not an ideal time to play a bench boost because of the short turnaround between fixtures. Arsenal, for example, have a long break now where they play on the 1st of January, but then they play 3 days later. Now, it doesn't really affect you in your situation with your bench necessarily, despite Valdimarsson playing them. I have Gomez in my team. With his injury, should I transfer in Trent, someone else, or use my bench? Current backline is Timber, Robinson, Anderson, and Hall. That's a good defensive line, to be fair. But Gomez to Trent is a fantastic move, especially if Gomez is out for a long time. I would probably... I'd wait for now. I'd wait for now, despite Trent going up in price tonight, most likely. Seems like Salah's doing every post-match interview now. Not surprised by that. Kluivert to Murphy. I like Murphy, but Gordon is my preference. And you've also got Rodgers if you're looking for a budget midfielder. Thank you, TTV for Fana, or Twitch TV for Fana. Yo, bro, do you think Gakpo's a good option? Yeah, he is a good option. But my main concern is the minutes, and the same goes for Diaz and Jota. I think they will rotate more often than not, but Gakpo is currently the first choice left winger. I think that's very clear to see, and he plays much better in that position compared to up front. It's mere, I know it's mere speculation, but how many games would Cunha miss? I was asked this when it first happened, the incident, and I'm going to stick with that, 3 to 5 games. I think that would be the kind of timeline we're looking at. Going to hang on for the deadline, but strongly considering moving Cunha to Wood now. Yeah, I mean, Chris Wood will go up in price tonight, and I think Cunha should be fine for another day or two, but yeah, I'd make that switch. Now, if Cunha is available and there's still no ban, you could easily keep Cunha for that game, and maybe he's the one who outscores Chris Wood in that matchup, but yeah, at the moment, it looks like a really good transfer. Stewart to Wood until Gimmick 29, or Stewart to Watkins for 2 weeks, then Watkins to Wood. It would be Chris Wood straight away, because with Watkins, you're actually only going to have him for 1 week where he's guaranteed to start. It's a 3-match ban for Duran, but one of them includes the FA Cup tie, so I'd just go for Chris Wood. 59 with 5 left, that's a good score. Yeah, look, Liverpool were clinical again tonight. They played some great football. West Ham were terrible, so I don't think you can look too much into it. Liverpool have been by far the best team in the league, that goes without saying, but yeah, I think West Ham are just dross. I mean, if they're facing a good Man City team, for example, they'd also get battered. That's the way I see it. Bench João Pedro for the next 2 game weeks, then Brian's fixtures turn good again. Yeah, but you say that though, and I would not be surprised if João Pedro does well against Villa tomorrow and also against Arsenal next week. Thoughts on Palace after today's match? I'm not too surprised by the scoreline. I did predict a narrow Palace win, but yeah, I think they offer good value with the likes of Sarr and Eze. They're not amazing options. They won't be consistent. Mateta up front, I think, isn't worth investment. Munoz at the back is still a good option. Henderson as a budget goalkeeper is fine. But when you look at Forest, Everton defensively, you can find better value there. You've got Robinson and Castagna. So I'm not that convinced about Palace options in general. I think 1's probably enough. Maybe 2 at a stretch, but I definitely wouldn't triple up. On the bench boost question, for Gameweek 20, as Valdimarson at Southampton, tough to leave Hall, Munoz, Enzo on the bench. True, but Hall does play Tottenham away. Unless he does an 8-Nuri and gets assists, I don't think he gets a return there. I think Newcastle will concede. Munoz against Chelsea, you've got the goal and assist for it, but I think Chelsea score. So yeah, look, it's a decent bench, but I don't think you have to play the bench boost. João Pedro to Wood or roll? I'd buy Chris Wood. This is right. The upside for Cunha is still just about prominent, says Greg Best. Who knows at this point? I can't guarantee anything there. Borgo says, well, thanks. I didn't know one of the Duran matches was the FA Cup. That makes my choice so much easier. No problem, mate. It can be confusing because if a player gets 5 yellow cards in the Premier League, they are suspended for 1 match, but it has to be served in the same competition. But if it's a red card, it can carry over to other cup competitions by the FA. So in this case, the FA Cup. So yeah, Duran will miss 2 Premier League games, including Gameweek 19 and 20, and then he's back and available for Gameweek 21. I think Diaz starts most games, but not all. So for example, if I'm looking at the next 3 games, I think Diaz is benched in one of them. And maybe it's against United, who knows at this point, but yeah, I think the way it'll probably go, if I had to guess the Liverpool front 3 right now, it's probably going to be Diaz, Gakpo and Salah again. True, Brighton are a strange team to work out. Yeah, I've mentioned their record a lot recently. So 2 or 3 games ago, it was 60 wins, 60 draws, 60 losses from the last 180 Premier League games. They're a very difficult team to predict. I've got Sarr and Mateta. I'm assuming they are both holds until the fixtures turn bad. Possibly. But if you can do something like Mateta to Chris Wood or Isak or something like that, I'd pull the trigger. It really depends on certain circumstances. Only thing is, when our fixtures have been good, we have been worse. More confident against tougher teams. Story of Brighton's history. Yeah, it hasn't changed with the new manager. And I think Brighton could get a result against Arsenal. Even if the Gunners win on New Year's Day against Brentford, I think Brighton could get a result there. Do you ever field 4 defenders much, mate? Not this season, but I'll be honest, it's something I'm considering. With the lack of midfielder options I'm convinced about, I might find myself buying Aina or Milenkovic for Veltman and then starting a back 4. I might even do that. Hey Dylan, Cunha to Isak or Chris Wood? It's still Isak for me, but Chris Wood is another great transfer. Hey, João Pedro to Wood or Cunha to Wood? Will bench Cunha next game week. So if Cunha is available and there is no ban, I'd rather sell João Pedro. But ultimately, you will be finding yourself selling Cunha. It will happen at some stage. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get any punishment. Adil says hopefully Konate is back for Man United, if not the game after, especially now due to the Gomez injury. Yeah, it was 4 to 5 weeks, the original timeline. We're very close to that, aren't we? Like 2 or 3 weeks away. Yeah, that would be a massive boost for Liverpool. Start 3 of Trent, Anderson, Timber, Robinson, Hall. Trent, Robinson, and Timber. Javane says currently going into Gameweek 20 with 4-3-3. Trent, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Robinson starting in defence, and Salah, Palmer, Enzo midfield. Yeah, I think we could be looking at a shift here, and I probably should have said it much sooner. of 4 at the back being the way. It's not something I typically say because it's ultimately about the players you have, right? Not the formations and stuff. But with the lack of midfield options I'm confident about in terms of starts, minutes, or returns, yeah, I think 4 at the back could be the way. So you go for Trent, Gabriel, Robertson's absolutely fine, and then maybe a Forest defender. I think that looks really good. So yeah, 1 free transfer. I don't think you need to make one, but yeah, I don't know the rest of your team, to be fair. Valdimarsson, that Brentford keeper, or Raya. If Flecken is still out, I'd be tempted to start Valdimarsson personally, especially because I've got Gabriel. Ahmad, Jackson, or Rogers play 2. Jackson and Rogers. I'd bench Amad Diallo. Yep, 49 with 6 to go is good. I'd rather have points on the board than games or plays in hand. Hi Dylan, catching up. Cunha expected to rise tonight if anyone's selling. Elanga looking interesting. Differential. Cunha's price rise could come to a halt though. If people start selling because of the early substitution and the poor fixtures and the imminent ban, that could be pushed to a halt basically. Elanga's been in good form, so he's a good option at that price and below. As good as a player can be at that price, but I'd rather buy Chris Wood up front and then Aina at the back. I think that would be my priority. No worries, Gervain. Keep Cunha, Havertz, or João Pedro. It would be Cunha, but I have a feeling he's going to be sellable very soon, either because of the injury or the suspension. So I think it's just a matter of time before he kind of is removed from the equation from FPL for a while. So yeah, if I had to keep one, it's probably Havertz, reluctantly. Should I do Watkins for Wood now? Probably after Watkins' 2 games, but Chris Wood looks really promising against Wolves. He's got a good record against them, 7 goals against that opposition. Frankie says, I'm an idiot, benched Wood and Aina against Everton, who did so well against City, Gunners and Chelsea. Well, I don't think that's a terrible decision, though. I was expecting a goalless draw, actually. But yeah, for Forest to win 2-0, I'm a bit surprised about that. They've got more quality than Everton, so maybe I shouldn't be. I don't think it was a terrible decision, though. No worries, Jellyfish. For the North London derby, should I bench Gabriel and Odegaard? I'd probably still start Gabriel. He scored in the last North London derby. Spurs could score in that game, and I think without Saka, Arsenal could struggle to break them down. I mean, I say that. I mean, Spurs playing a high line, if they do that, maybe Arsenal will actually score 3 or 4 goals for once, but yeah, I'd be more inclined to bench Odegaard from the 2. Should I replace Bowen or João Pedro? No update on Bowen's injury, unfortunately. There might be a quote or something, but I can't find it. I'll try to do that now, but no guarantees here. Yeah, I don't think I've got any quotes from Lopetegui. But yeah, I think right now Bowen would be more of a sell than a hold. And I was talking about holding him just the other day, but yeah, I think right now, with the upcoming fixtures and also that potential injury, I'd be looking to sell. Yeah, almost thinking of getting in Milenkovic and fielding 4 defenders, although I'll stretch my budget, we'll have 0 million in the bank. Yeah, my priority right now is buying Liverpool and Nottingham Forest players. It's as simple as that. Cunha already over Delta Point, true, but he could fall below it if enough people transfer him out. That's the way I look at it. The 3 Liverpool players gave me 53 points tonight with 8 players to go. Yeah, that's an ideal scenario. Start 3, Hall, Trent, Timber, Anderson, Robinson. I think I covered this just a few seconds ago, mate. Trent, Timber, and Robinson. If the game was 7 minutes longer, Quansah would have ended up with 6 points instead of 1. Yeah, and look, he could be one to look at whilst Kanate is injured and Joe Gomez, but it's probably too short term. And it also wastes a Liverpool spot, which could be really crucial soon. Happy with Trent and Foden, but Wood and Forest are getting out of hand. Yeah. And with Foden, a bit of obviously luck with the goal. I mean, I say luck, it's an FPL assist. There's nothing wrong with it. I think Semenyo's assist was a bit jammier, but there we go. Do I sell Van Dijk for Aina? Depends, to be honest. I think Aina's a better option long term when you look at value, but I think Van Dijk's absolutely fine. Cheers, Jellyfish. I'm not sure if Iwobi did pick up an injury. He might have done. I'm not too keen on him anyway, but then again, name me a budget midfielder I like a lot. Probably Rodgers. And even then, he's not amazing. Good to see you, Soldier Boy. Milenkovic fell on the bench for me. Yeah, tricky one. I think Forest defenders are worth starting in most cases. Is it time to let Gavardio go or hold until Gameweek 23? Gavardio's fine. I mean, he kept the clean sheet today, but I'd probably move him on to a Forest defender, or you're looking at Trent/Gabriel. They're the best premiums in the game. Defensively, of course. If I have the spare transfer, is it worth selling a bench player, Smith Rowe, to another to avoid a price drop? I like Elanga, but his minutes. Yeah, and I do think Elanga will be inconsistent despite the recent returns. Yeah, I'd rather buy Rodgers, to be honest, if you want a budget midfielder. Adil says, I'm already regretting my transfer for this week. I did Pedro to Mateta, but I was initially planning on doing Gomez to Trent. I don't really blame you for what you did, though. Yeah, I think Mateta was a sound transfer. And looking at Joe Gomez to Trent, the injury is very unfortunate for you. And that's kind of double whammied by Trent's goal and the bonus points. What gameweek is the assistant managership? I think it's Gameweek 24, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that. But I'm looking to use it then on Arne's slot if Liverpool double. So just having a look at Lopetegui updates, but I don't think I'm going to get that now. If you have seen anything on Jarrod Bowen, let me know in the live chat. That'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, Gameweek 24. I just had to double check that as well. A double Gameweek 24. It might be a double, to be fair. Is Elanga a mid or defender in FPL? He's a midfielder. He's always been a winger. The only question would have been, is he an attacker or forward or midfielder? But yeah, he's a mid. Sell Cunha or Joao Pedro to Wood? If Cunha is available and there's no ban, I'd rather keep him and sell Joao Pedro. Yeah, Odegaard to Diaz looks fine, but you have to stomach the benchings. I think there will be one in the next 3. Ahmad is absolutely fine to keep. You could argue Jacob Murphy's better. Also, Morgan Rogers for me is the best at that price and below, but I think Ahmad is okay to keep. Pedro to Wood, then keep Jota or get Gordon. I do Pedro to Wood, but Jota starting against United, not a guarantee. Best Forest defender to get, Aina. I think the bonus points is a big plus he has over the others. He hasn't got any assists this season, and the goals is a bit fluky, you could argue. 2 shots on target, 2 goals. He's not going to carry that on. But yeah, Aina, Milenkovic, and Nico Williams is the top 3 right now. And if you're also factoring in sells in that equation, I'd rank him above Nico Williams and arguably Milenkovic. But yeah, it would be Aina for me. Lopetegui could get the sack soon. Yeah, look, the recent results have been better, but it's just a matter of time. Top 5 goalkeepers, Pickford, Sells, Raya, Sanchez, and Anana is my top 5. You could also put Alisson, to be fair, but his injury record for a goalkeeper is worrying, and it also, not wastes, but it does take up a Liverpool slot. Nathaniel says Van Dijk and Gavardio to Aina and Trent for a -4, or hold on since the City fixtures are better until 23. I'd make the moves for a -4. Now, Van Dijk is absolutely fine, and Gavardio is decent, but I think long-term Aina and Trent pay off. Frankie says better to have 2 super cheap defenders than having solid options between 4.5, 4.8. Debatable. You definitely have more options now at 4.3 and below. That includes Howson, Anderson, Castagna, maybe Quansah short-term, not to mention Mikalenko, Nico Williams. But at 4.5, 4.8, you can also buy Robinson, Munoz. They're absolutely fine. Levi Colwill. So it's definitely a debate to be had. Patrick says Rico Lewis and Joao Pedro to Castagna and Wood, 2 free transfers. Yeah, looks good to me. I like that. 8 Nuri since the red card, 6 points and 10 points. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And tough fixtures on paper against Man United and Tottenham. But yeah, that's football and FPL for you. But I do like those moves, by the way, Patrick. I do like that. Castagna is still fine, worth investing in, and Chris Wood is arguably the 3rd best forward in the game, if not 2nd. Yeah, benching headaches for next week. Not for me personally, even after making my transfer. But if I do make another one and take a hit, yeah, there will be a benching headache. I'd definitely keep Mbeumo against Southampton. I would not be selling. despite Brentford having the worst away record in the division. Guys, when considering Elanga, please remember they rotate with Hudson-Odoi, so pick wisely. Yeah, there will be times where he's on the bench, makes a cameo, about, 20, 30 minutes. And he's inconsistent himself, despite what he's done recently, which is very impressive. Yeah, for me, Chris Wood is by far the best Forest attacker. Benched Aït-Nouri for Sarr. Yeah, but were you ever going to start Aït-Nouri realistically? If you're going to buy Sarr and not start him against Southampton, why buy him at all? So I don't think that's a bad decision. Sarr should have done something today, either a goal or assist. He didn't. It is what it is. -4 for defender. Not sure. Gabriel, Trent would be worth it. Maybe Robinson, but it depends who you're selling. Also, kind of like, is it a long-term play? Are you planning to wildcard fairly soon? I'm guessing you aren't, but these are very important. Bring in Wood for Raul or hold? I'd buy Chris Wood. I think he's much better than Jimenez. What to do with Joao Pedro? 0 in the bank. Do I downgrade Bruno or Jackson if he blanks tomorrow, or just keep Joao Pedro? Probably keep him for now. Because at his price and below, who do you go to? I wouldn't invest in Strand Larsen, despite the goal today. It was a great goal, by the way. Fantastic finish. But, nah, I'd keep Joao Pedro for now. Should I sell Ahmad or Sarr? If I had to pick one to sell, it would be Ahmad. But, yeah, who would you buy? I think your midfield is fine as it is. Ideally, I would buy a mid-priced midfielder, so that could be Gordon or Diaz or Amad Diallo. And if not, maybe for Sarr. It just depends on your budget. Possibly, but Semenyo is another one who returns when you least expect him to. Tough game against Fulham away, gets a jammy assist. Plays United away, fair enough, it's an easy fixture nowadays, but you know, you bench him when you've got some good options in your starting 11. He gets a goal towards the end, gets 8 points. Man City, you know, at the beginning of their terrible run, Semenyo double-digit haul. So I'm not so sure, to be fair, with Semenyo. I think he's not a good FPL option, but unless you can go to Rodgers or something like that, you don't have to sell him necessarily. I'm actually looking at my team right now, and I think my priorities might lie in the defence. It's taken me 19 bloody game weeks to find out, but I think that's where I could, you know, start to make some big gains. Going to a back four, going for a Forest defender, and changing things up a little bit. Going against the template, I think that could really work. Golden Bessie says 44 from 4. Martinez, Timber, Rodgers, Palmer, Mitoma, Isak, and Jesus to play. Yeah, decent score, especially with the number of players you've had actually play so far. Not a big fan of the likes of Martinez, Mitoma, and even Gabriel Jesus, but you could be surprised by some of them. I know West Ham lost, but Kudus was so unlucky not to get a return. Hit the woodwork a couple of times. Yeah, he's a good player. I wish Arsenal could sign him in January. And I can't see him staying at West Ham for very long. Liverpool have 9 fixtures in the month of January to the 1st of February in all competitions. Lots of rotation expected with other teams participating in European competitions. That's a great point. And that also adds even more doubts to Diaz, Jota, and even Gakpo. I know Gakpo's been nailed on recently, but I don't see that sticking. Who would you sell next week? I'll narrow it down. So the players I'm looking to sell include Veltman, Vandenberg, Semenyo, and Joao Pedro. And one of them has been sold already. So yeah, thank you to those that are still tuning in. We've got over 300 people watching for pretty much the majority of the stream. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a single upload or live stream, which includes FPL and UCL fantasy content. So next month in 2025, the Champions League will return, and so will the UCL fantasy videos and streams on this channel. And until Game Week 20, I will be posting some videos over the coming days, the transfer tips, best wildcard team, and my team selection. So thank you to those that have supported the channel all year. We have made a lot of growth, especially since the summer. We hit 30,000 subscribers only a few weeks ago, and we're already very close towards 31k. I saw Jackson for Mateta. Yeah, look, Jackson could be benched this week, so it's not like it's not the worst thing in the world. If he does start tomorrow, though, I would be slightly worried in your case. I personally think Jackson plays tomorrow, but every single lineup I saw had Nkunku in it. Is Robertson getting bonus points? No. No, I don't think he is. So just to kind of recap bonus points, since I haven't covered that yet. So for Man City versus Leicester, Savio gets 3, Haaland 2, and Akanji gets 1. Crystal Palace Southampton, Eze 3, Chalobah 2, and Dibling gets 1. Everton Nottingham Forest, no surprises here. Chris with 3, Aina gets 2, alongside Gibbs White. Nico Williams as well, actually, and Morata. They're all on 28 in the bonus point system. So, yeah, they all are going to share 2 bonus points, it seems. There might be a change, though. Remember, by the end of the game week, that's where the bonus points are finalised. So these are provisional. For Fulham Bournemouth, Jimenez 3, Ivanilson and Wilson sharing 2, and Ouattara on 1. Thankfully, Semenya doesn't get anything. Spurs versus Wolves. 8 Nuri gets 3 bonus points. He's going to get 10 points overall, by the way, for those that benched him. Johnson with 2, and Strand Larson with 1. And then Trent with maximum bonus points. Salah gets 2, and Cody Gakpo and Diaz get a bonus point. So yeah, those are the bonus points there for today. None for Robinson, as mentioned before. Yeah, I think Jesus blanks tomorrow. I hope he doesn't, but yeah, I'm not going to get my hopes up there. Do you think Cunha plays next week? My prediction would be no. Either the ban or the suspension. That's the same thing. Either the ban or the injury. One of them will come into play for me. 52 or 4 to play. Good stuff. Not that many players left tomorrow, so, you know, it could be a little bit rocky, but good score. If Jackson doesn't get booked, is he good until another game week down the line? Yeah. I think Jackson's absolutely fine to keep. Now, if he is benched tomorrow, then yeah, a lot of people will be looking to sell, I think. And imagine he gets benched, comes on, and then gets booked. That would be the nightmare scenario. I hope that doesn't happen. Should I get rid of Solanke for Wood? I think Solanke's fine, but Chris Wood is an upgrade, and you save money, so my answer will be yes. 51 points with 7 to play. Good stuff. Best defender to buy right now for value, unlimited budget. Gabriel Aina. I mean, look, there's a lot of valuable defenders, which includes Robinson, Milenkovic, Mikalenko. But yeah, my favourite is Gabriel. I don't think Trent offers the best value, but he would be right up in the podium of the best defenders in the game. Unlimited budget for the midfield spot, so should I go Gordon? Probably. I regret not going for him. Not surprising there. I might even buy him very soon, but yeah, Gordon's fine. Ronaldo says, after deciding to roll a transfer, I bought Sarr in, Raul 9 points on the bench, went with Cunha instead, didn't captain Salah, went with Isak, 53. Good score, but yeah, with everything you've mentioned, I can understand your frustrations. I've done something a little bit similar, but not to the same level, because obviously Raul 9 points is very tough to stomach. I've got Semenyo 5 points on the bench, but I feel like I've wasted a transfer again by buying Ismaila Sarr. But thankfully, he didn't get -2 points like my last one, Bruno Fernandes. Did that random fella end up captaining Foden? Probably. Yeah, it's not my birthday. For those saying happy birthday, it's not my birthday. It's still a few months left. See you next year. Likewise, Soldier Boy. Not too long, so don't worry. My bench is either Rodgers, Howson, Vandenberg. If Jackson gets a yellow card, I might have only one playable bench player. Is this a little too risky? I think Wood is a much better option anyway. Yeah. I get what you're saying. But Rodgers is actually a really good player for next week. I would actually want to start him against Leicester. So it's not too shabby if you got Rodgers ready to come on for Jackson. Should I look for Livramento or Aina? I would not be investing in Livramento. Aina's much better. Yeah, Rodgers is on 4 yellow cards, but if he avoids that booking against Brighton tomorrow, yeah, he's good to go against Leicester. Yeah, I haven't posted a assistant manager chip video, but I have offered my thoughts throughout the streams. Yeah, closer to the time to Gameweek 24, I'll probably cover it in more detail, and I might even make a dedicated video, but I think most people want to see best wildcard teams, transfer tips, and team selection. That's what people want to see. Adil says, I've got Sanchez, Palmer, and Jackson plus Sarr and Mateta against each other next game week. Yeah, not ideal. But I would definitely favour Chelsea in that matchup, and historically, they've got a brilliant record against Palace, although this season it was a 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge. Thank you to Steparky. Yeah, Pickford's a keep. It was disappointing today, the yellow card and the 2 goals conceded. I would not be selling Pickford. Do you think Palmer will outscore Salah tomorrow? No. Do you want Jackson to play or Semenyo off the bench? I mean, from an effective ownership point of view, maybe it's best for me if Jackson doesn't play a single minute, but I don't see that happening. If Chelsea need a goal and Jackson's on the bench, he's going to come on. So, yeah, it really depends. I think if Jackson starts, he can do really well. So probably just start Jackson. That's my ideal scenario. Hillbilly says 49 with 8 to go. That's good. Playing Hall, Gordon, Isak, so need Newcastle to do business. It probably will. I think one of those players will blank at least, and I hope Gordon does, but he probably will return. Cunha and Son out, Gordon and Watkins in. Good transfers in, but I think with Watkins, it would have been better to buy him going into Gameweek 19. Doing it now is a bit awkward because after Gameweek 20, Duran is back. So that does put me off a little bit. Thinking about Trent to Aina. Yeah, I would not be selling Trent, but tripling up on Forest, I'm not against that, mate. If I had a wild card right now, I'd have 2 Forest and triple Liverpool. Or maybe leave 1 slot for Liverpool for Aina's slot. I would not be selling Gabriel to Aina. Junior Kingping, 66 with 4 to play. Max with 47 and 5 to play. Yeah, look, I always prefer points on the board than plays in hand, so to speak, but there's a nice combination going on in the live chat of good scores and a good number of players left. Gigs Not Pigs, great name, says, I feel like a bit of an idiot buying Saar. I'll be honest, I don't think Gibbs White or Elanga are much better options than Saar. They might be better, I'm not going to deny that, but I think the best investment you can make in Nottingham Forest is Chris Wood up front, or the likes of Aina, Milenkovic and Sells. I think that's the best way of covering Forest. Possibly ideal, possibly, but I'm also looking at the options in terms of forwards. I mean, what Chris Wood I don't have. I'm not going to buy Cunha now. I just sold him, and yeah, either the injury or the suspension will take care of the rest. So it just depends on a few factors, right? But maybe Gakpo, cheeky pun on Gakpo, who knows at this point. But I am looking at adding a second Liverpool player, that's for sure. Maybe even 3. Cheers, FPL Kevy. I'll see you very soon. Best Odegaard replacement, either Diaz or Gordon for me. Do you think differentials are more important to increase rank? Should I risk captaining players who could potentially do better than Salah? It's good questions. I'm always asked this every year when someone's doing well, in terms of like, do I maintain my rank and be conservative and safe, or do I go for it? I mean, it's easier said than done, but you should keep on doing what you've been doing all season, which has gotten you to this stage. Don't overthink it now, like I do with my transfers. Just look at my deadline stream today. I think it's a combination of both. That's probably the sweet spot. But can you quantify that? Not really. You got to keep playing your game, and don't just do something for the sake of being safe. You know, if you think, for example, Palmer will outscore Salah in a game week, you could captain him. But I've been saying to people all season, or at least in the last couple of weeks, that with the form Salah's in, I just keep captaining Salah, and maybe you find your differentials with your other moves, but ultimately in your case, you've been doing so well, I'd keep on doing what you're doing and not overthink it. Is either Wood or Pedro changing prices tonight? Yeah, by the way, apologies, there's a bit of a lag going on now. Not sure why, I think it's just a few issues on YouTube. Let me know if it's still going on, but yeah, just to get the question up again. Couldn't actually highlight the other one that I wanted to cover. Thank you to Stapaki once again. Let's see where we were. Yeah, the Chris Wood or Pedro question. Chris Wood is rising in price tonight. Joao Pedro will likely drop tomorrow. He already suffered a price drop last night, so yeah, I don't think he goes down tonight. What do you think of Mateta's game today? Not very convinced. He's got 4 goals all season for a reason. There are good fixtures though. He will score some goals, but you can find better value with Solanke, Gakpo, Cunha when there's no issues there. And of course the likes of Chris Wood, Isak and Jackson. Henderson, random keeper. I'm not sure who you're talking about there with the second options rank keeper. So yeah. Should I sell Jesus to Wood for next week? Yes, I would. Would you do Gabriel to Aina? No. So I think some of these I covered already, but I lost it in the chat, so it's difficult to kind of keep track of this. I could have brought in Trent, but I brought in Munoz. Yeah, I don't really blame you. I think this week Palace had a better chance for clean sheet on paper, but Liverpool are a much better team, so Yeah. I benched Jimenez for Ahmad, I think. Let's see what Ahmad can do tomorrow. I don't think Newcastle are great defensively, so there could be some joy there. FPL is supposed to be fun, and this is exactly how I go at it. Just have fun, folks. Exactly that. If you're not having fun, it's probably not worth playing. Nice one, Adam. Good stuff. Sells and Aina just keep delivering. Yeah. That's one of my mistakes this season, not having any Forest defensive coverage. 4 players played, 57 points, looking for a slammer. Yeah, depends who you have left, but it's looking good. 62 with 5 to go and just 1 blank, says Nathaniel. Very good score too. Best overall finish in FPL is 13k. Not amazing, but not too shabby. UCL Fantasy, a few 800 finishes in there. Looking to make it another one this season, but still some work to do. Wood is going up tonight. Yeah. Chris Wood is a no-brainer for a lot of people. I'm not going to do a wildcard draft now because there will be a video. We've got 4 games left in Gameweek 19, so it's probably best for me to wait for those games to finish, build a draft, and give it some more thought. Captain Isak hoping United struggle without Bruno. Salah's been hurt in my ranks since Gameweek 11. Yeah, Isak has never scored against United, but if there's ever a time to do it, it's going to be this week. Not a big fan of Szoboszlai FPL-wise. He's been benched in the last couple of games, and yeah, once again, you're looking at Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, Jota. They're all much better options, in my opinion. Keeping Jota for United fixture and selling to Gordon in 21. Jota points off the bench were promising for a start next week. That's the best thing about Jota. Even when he's benched, it's not all doom and gloom because he can do what he did today. Short cameo, gets a goal. Did it against Fulham only a couple of weeks ago. That's the best thing about him. Yeah, Semenyo to Gordon, good transfer. Other midfielders, Diaz or Jota, if you can stomach the benchings. Having said that, or some other midfielder, the thing with Semenyo, he scored earlier this season against Everton in that famous comeback when Everton were 2-0 up. But yeah, I think Gordon is a nice upgrade. If you don't do it this week, you can always save it for Game Week 21. Yeah, nice one, Adil. I do like that Trent move. If I had enough money, I'd buy Trent now. Will you do Jackson to Wood for next game week? No. Wait for the Chelsea game. If Jackson doesn't get booked, I'd keep him. -4 for Wood. Depends who you sell. If you're selling Joao Pedro, I think long term it pays off, so I don't mind it. Hey Dylan, what do you think of a Wood, Gakpo, Isak frontline? And can I get into the top 100k? Well, I'm at 6 million after some heavy red arrows. You still can, but it's going to be very tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but if you have a very solid second half of the season, you can still make it. I think this season's a funny one. And even at this stage of the season, there's not too much of a difference in gaps. There's not much separating all these different ranks, should I say. But that front line is absolutely fine. It's arguably the best one right now. I like Cunha a lot, but I wouldn't buy him at this point. And you've also got Jackson, but Gakpo's been in even better form, so that's fine. Yeah, 53 points on the bench in the last 3 game weeks. That's tough. Ahmad will haul as well tomorrow, I guess. Not a guarantee. Any thoughts on Bruno Guimaraes? I mean, he has been playing in a more advanced position, so FPL-wise is more interesting now, but you're looking at Jacob Murphy and Gordon in that midfield. Best time to triple captain, and with who? Maybe Salah. For those that haven't used it yet, in game week 24 or 25, should they double? And any game week, just put it on Salah, and the rest is done. Possibly Jellyfish, but he was starting most games at the beginning of the campaign, and he was doing quite well, but I get what you're saying. He's the one Liverpool player who can come off the bench and make an impact time after time again. Diaz maybe not so much, and the same goes for Gakpo or Darwin Nunez. See you very soon, Punjabi. Have a great new year. Enzo to Rodgers this week? Yeah, I like Rodgers, and Chris Wood, fine. Yeah, I know. Szoboszlai wasn't benched today, but he was against not Tottenham. It was the recent game. I get what you're saying, but with Szoboszlai, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of him compared to Jota and Diaz. I know they're going to be benched too, but not to the same. I just think those two can get returns off the bench, especially Jota. And I just think with Szoboszlai, look, he's a good option. He's been having a good season for Liverpool, but he's not someone I'd invest in FPL-wise. Best cheap forwards, Chris Wood. Anyone else? I don't know. It's just, you're looking at Strand Larsen. You wouldn't be buying him in now. Raul Jimenez maybe, but not a big fan of him. Chris Wood is the answer. Wood predicted to rise tomorrow. Let me check that again because it depends on what site you're using. YouTube's bugging up, by the way. It keeps on crashing. Happened a lot recently. Don't know why. Let me see if I can get this up quickly. Because we did cover them earlier. Might have to just go back to it again. I think that'll just make more sense. So, yeah, Gakpo, Diaz, Isak, Murphy, Gabriel, Iwobi, Elanga, Cunha, and Chris Wood all projected to rise. Now, Chris Wood isn't at 100% in this progress bar, but he could be fairly soon, and that's what live FPL.net are projecting. But I think, yeah, now they've updated it. Ah, I see. So Chris Wood isn't there now. So yeah, it looks like he's going to go up in price tomorrow. That's the updated version. If we can refresh this and show you on screen. So yeah, this is the updated one. Similar names. Trent is also about to go up in price tonight. As for fours, Bruno Fernandes, Vardy, Duran, Smith Rowe, Strand Larsen, Matoma, Joao Gomez, Ivanosen, Anana from Man United, Longstaff, Darwin, Baleba, Rashford, Vestergaard, Bonanotte, Bradley, Marino, Willock, Turner, Ogbene. Wow, there's a lot of players here. Jesus Christ. Is it even worth talking about them? Not really. You've got Werner in there and stuff like that. No one of any real FPL interest. Welbeck, Anthony Rodri, Barnes. That's about it. But yeah, there could be a lot of changes, especially in terms of price falls. Let's go back to my FPL team, which isn't great, but only 3 players have featured so far. Slight regret of my transfers, as usual, because I would have had Semenyo getting an assist and 3 returns out of 3. Thanks, Dylan. Off to play golf now in New Zealand. Enjoy yourself. What do you think of City assets at the moment? If you have Gavardia or Haaland, they might be worth keeping. The same goes for Foden, but I wouldn't be looking to invest necessarily. They got a good win today in terms of the scoreline, but they should have conceded. Is Diaz the best Liverpool midfield pick, bar Salah? Yeah, but he will be benched from time to time. And Jota, one thing he has over Diaz more often than not is that he can come off the bench and score on a consistent basis. Diaz will do that ever so often, but yeah. Szoboszlai will be after those two, but not quite at that level. And of course, Jones has been showing good form recently. Yeah, probably Adil. I mean, at this point, you're probably going to win it every single month, but we'll probably see some changes soon. Well, Trent got a goal, clean sheet. I mean, why did Salah not get 3 bonus points? I don't know. But at the same time, it doesn't make too much of a difference because everyone, or at least almost everyone, is captaining Salah. Wood has to be the one, a play you don't have to worry about. Yes, he was my best pick this season. Cunha being second. I'm going to go back to that. Strand Larsen dropping in price is surprising. Yeah, but the fixtures are poor. The returns, apart from today, have been lackluster. I can either play Kudus versus City or sell Maddison to Gordon. Yeah, Kudus was really good today. He should have got a goal. I don't mind starting Kudus against City. But West Ham's record against Man City is quite poor. If Welbeck is back, Joao Pedro looks good again. Possibly, but I think Chris Wood is a massive upgrade, to be honest. Maybe Archie, I mean, today he did, but he needs to do that more often, or at least deliver returns in most game weeks for that price in terms of defenders. But yeah, he was really good today. Thoughts on Hwang Hee-chan and Ivanosen? Well, Hwang scored his first goal of the season against Man United the other day, and he followed that up with the opener against Spurs. Maybe one to look at, to be fair, Hwang Hee-chan. He was interesting at the beginning of last season. Ivanosen scored a brilliant goal today, but I wouldn't be looking to invest right now. No. Bournemouth's fixtures are quite mixed bag after Everton. Yeah, he made a lot of key passes and chances. He's done that most of the season, though. Dylan, I've realised Nunez starts most home games and Diaz starts up front in most away games in the league at the moment. There could be something to that, to be fair. Salah missed too many big chances and Trent created chances. That's why Salah got 2 and Trent 3. Yeah, you're possibly right. That is probably a main reason why. And with Trent, whenever he does score or gets an assist, he's going to get bonus points, but he hasn't really done that too often this season. Yeah. In any given game week right now, you can triple captain Salah and leave happy, so I'm not against that. If United show vulnerabilities tomorrow, look, even if they win 3-2 but concede multiple chances, and it's just a question of Isak and Gordon not finishing their dinner, yeah, I'd be tempted by triple captaining Salah. It's just, You've also got the possibility of using that triple captaincy in 24 or 25 if Liverpool double. That's a good opportunity as well. 49 points from 3 players. Trent, 15-pointer. Good stuff. I don't think Trent needs to justify his price tag. No, I agree. And that's what I've said recently. And that's why Trent featured in my recent wildcard video. I don't think he is worth the price necessarily, but you can spread the money around now. Cunha and Kirkus to Trent and Wood. Yeah, I'd keep it simple. Bruno and Joao Pedro to Diaz and Isak for a -4 this week. Also yes, but Diaz could be benched either in Gameweek 20 or 21. If you can stomach those benchings, go for it. Gordon might be a safer pick. Cunha plus Wood to Lewis and Trent for a -4. Yeah. Another great set of transfers. I'm not sure if I just covered that. It was quite similar to something else, but ultimately I would do it. I feel like Virgil isn't the centre of the set pieces anymore. Most of the teams look to focus so much on Van Dijk, but there are spaces for other team members. Yeah, you might be right about that. And the other day against Leicester, there was obviously that kind of new set piece, so to speak, the new set piece routine. I still think Van Dijk will score more goals than Trent this season, and he'll get 1 or 2 more by the end of the campaign. West Ham's backline was a shambles today, no coordination. Yeah, and there was something similar against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, but you could argue they were even worse today, which is saying something. Likewise, Adil, have a good evening. Start Milenkovic or Gabriel, Gameweek 20. Still Gabriel for me. 42 and 8 to go. Glad Foden got a return. Yeah, I mean, it was from a shot, really, that got parried away, and Savio did the rest, but you'll take that, right? It's better than nothing. Of course, I would have said the same thing if I had Semenyo's points off the bench today. So I shouldn't have bought Sarr. What a shock. Nothing surprising there, really. So, we have been streaming for, what, 2 hours once again, and we did the stream earlier as well today. That concludes 2024, though, and it has been a blast talking to all of you. Let's get the stream to 200 plus likes, and let's also push on towards new goals like 31,000 subscribers. Should I go for Virgil to Trent? If you're happy with the rest of your team, yes, I would do that. I think it's worth the extra money to go for Trent. Virgil will score more goals, but I think Trent will get assists more consistently and bonus points. New set piece equals Arsenal set piece, to be fair. Against Leicester, yes. I didn't see the set piece against West Ham, though. Maybe he did the same thing again, but it's effective. Move one of Gabriel, Hall, Robinson, Howson, Anana, O'Shea to Trent. Is a 5th defender needed? No, but the more squad depth, the merrier. Yeah, if you can upgrade one of O'Shea or Howson to Trent, that looks brilliant. And ideally, you'd keep Howson, but Bournemouth's fixtures aren't great. I don't see many clean sheets on paper, but Bournemouth have surprised people this season. I think Kudus is a good pick looking at the fact Bowen is injured, so he's going to be relied upon for most of the attack and returns. You could be onto something there, but at the same time, West Ham's attack will be weaker now without Bowen, and that over-reliance on Kudus might mean he's doubled up on more and he's shot out. So it can go both ways, but Kudus was really lively today. What do you think of McAllister? Yeah, he obviously got 2 assists the other day as well against Leicester. But yeah, for me, yeah, by the way, it's Szoboszlai being benched against Leicester that I forgot about. Yeah, it's still going to be one of... Salah goes without saying, of course. Let's forget about him. Diaz or Jota are my favourite Liverpool midfielders. And then Gakpo up front. Thank you, Soldier Boy. Twister Parky says, my best pick sells Mbeumo early on, Rogers, Wood, and Gabriel to our sold. Smith Rowe also did well. Worst, Van den Ven, Cunha, and Aït-Nouri probably the worst. Right. Yeah, Aït-Nouri was one of the worst ones for me too. I don't want to think too much about that. I just know Chris Wood was my best pick since Gameweek 1, and Cunha was my best transfer. Dylan Everton parked the bus versus Chelsea and Arsenal, but opened up to Nottingham Forest. Yeah, and also against Man City, they also parked the bus, so to speak. I think it makes sense in a way because with Forest, they probably look at them and think, you know what, we'll attack you more. There's more pressure on Everton to attack in those games, but I still thought they'll be competitive in that game, but Forest deserved the win. Cheers, Joe. Good luck to you as well. Are Muñoz's stats show a lack of finishing? Possibly. I mean, he is a wing-back after all, but the positions he gets into are really impressive for a right wing-back, but if he doesn't finish them, it won't really amount to much, but still a good return from him. 2 goals, 2 assists up until this point of the season. 2 free transfers, Odegaard and Cunha to Gordon and Wood. Would you do it now or wait for the Gameweek to end? I'd wait for the game week to end, but that looks really promising. I like that. Thank you, Red or Dead 69. Wood in, tired of this Joao Pedro nonsense. I'm completely on board with you. Good luck, everyone. Hope I'm getting the same from my F11 as I did from the bench today, says Frankie. Good luck to you as well. 51 from 3. Had Raul on my bench as thought he'd be benched. Yeah, a bit unfortunate with Raul, but really good score, and you're probably destined to get a green arrow. 53 points, Palmer captain, Jackson, Raya, Rodgers to play. Decent score. I'm guessing the Salah haul, though, was probably a bit discouraging for you. Let's see what Palmer can do tomorrow. My problem with Jota and Diaz is that they'll never get 2 free bonus points with Salah Trent slinging the show whenever they return. Good point. But today I think Gakpo and Diaz are sharing 1. Jota's not going to get as many bonus points as the others, especially with limited minutes because of injuries, cameos off the bench. So yeah, Jota might be the worst in that regard. Yeah, no, I know that, Singh. To be fair, though, there was a defender right in front of him, but it wasn't a great finish. I know that. I saw that incident, and Benyos was laughing himself. His owners weren't laughing, I can tell you that for sure. Was Sarr still as attacking as he was against the tougher fixtures? I think he was. His underlying numbers were actually even better today. I'm not sure exactly what his XG was. It might have been around 0.3, 0.4. And his expected assist was 0.59, I think. He created a big chance, had a big chance himself, a few key passes. Just a bit unfortunate. I wasn't really playing F1 Fantasy, but I had a strong end to the season. I pretty much just left it at that. I think I finished around top 10k, but I need to double check it. I really just left it, and I didn't go to it every single week like I did when I made videos. Thank you very much, FC. You're still live, brother. Respect the dedication. Like the video. I appreciate it. His XG was 0.45 or something like that. Yeah, it was really impressive. It also depends which site you're using, but the numbers were good. Unfortunately, the quality didn't prevail there. Sell Joao Pedro or Cunha to Wood? I think I answered your question earlier, mate. If Cunha isn't injured and he's not banned, I'd still keep him and sell Joao Pedro instead. But if you're asking me right now, I think Cunha will miss Game Week 20 for one reason or the other, and he's going to be a sell eventually. Captain Palmer instead of Salah, hoping he can bang? Yeah, he certainly could. But it's difficult to see him outscoring Salah, but I think you'll be happy with 11 plus points, to be fair. Is this a season different in any way from previous? People are saying more variance plus difficult to get points. I think we said this last year, though. It's like, yeah, it gets worse every single year from that perspective. Maybe. There's always variance, though, in FPL. It's just part and parcel of the game. Coding Life says 67 points with 6 to play. Good score. Good number left. Change Van Dijk to Trent. Do you think it's good or bad? It's good. Van Dijk will score more goals, but Trent with the bonus points and the assist for it is always going to be kind of an ideal pick in that defensive line. Not worth the price necessarily, though. Enzo to Sarr soon, says Singh. Leicester away seems like a good entry point, but Chelsea ain't that bad. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sarr returned against Chelsea and then blanked against Leicester, but I'm still planning to bench him in Game Week 20 anyway. Yeah, I think Sarr's better than Enzo, but by much, maybe not, to be honest. Isak captain. I hope he does well, but he's never scored against Man United before. Let's see if he changes that in Game Week 19. But that is a wrap pretty much for the 2024 streams. I know there's been a lot of them this year with UCL Fantasy, FPL, and the Euros in the summer. If you haven't already, drop a like on the video, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. We are getting very close towards 31,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to your support. And across all social media platforms are also making big growth. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. I'm also on that new app called Blue Sky. You can find me by typing FPL Dylan there, and the same goes for any social media platform. There is a link to the Discord server in the description. The same goes for Drafthound and also my Patreon and the channel memberships. You can click the join button on YouTube and become a member there for early access to my videos, amongst many other perks. For the first deadline stream of the new year in 2025, I will be gifting 10 memberships there. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And every month I'll be doing the same thing. And thank you to those that have been supporting the channel, all the super chatters, patrons, and members. You're all much appreciated. And there's also a Spotify link in there if you want to listen to my content in audio format. Thank you, Frankie. Good luck for Game Week 19 and the rest of the season. Enjoy the football and enjoy the points, hopefully. That's the hope for the Sunday. I'll see you very soon for more FPL and Use Your Fantasy content, which will return in January. And let's see what more football has in store for us. I'll see you very soon.